It is 6 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. The Titans took yesterday off and will return to the St. Thomas Sports Park practice fields this morning beginning at 9:30. Buck Rising Show will be live from Titans training camp beginning at 10. A decision is expected to be issued today on whether Deshaun Watson violated the league's personal conduct policy following accusations of sexual misconduct. According to reports, Watson has agreed to settle 3 of the remaining 4 active civil lawsuits against him. Deebo Samuel agreed to a 3-year contract extension with the San Francisco 49ers. The deal worth a maximum value of $73.5 million over the 3 years, includes just over $58 million in guarantees. And Bill Russell, who won 11 titles during his legendary career with the Boston Celtics and one of the true icons of the NBA, died on Sunday. The Hall of Famer was 88. For foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Welcome in. Jay Martin and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Start of a new week. Pads today for the first time for the Tennessee Titans. Day 5 of camp. We got news all over the place. Before the end of this show, even though it's not the final word, keep in mind, folks, Goodell could literally just say, nah, that's good. He's out for the year. Because that's how it's set up in the collective bargaining agreement. That's the power that he has. But Sue Robinson, her ruling is supposed to come down before 9 a.m. this morning. So it's going to happen during the course of today's show, that being the Deshaun Watson decision that has been just sitting there to be done. As you heard Schaefer say at the top, 3 of the 4 settled, including Ashley Solis, who was the first one and the one that was on the Real Sports deal. Those were the 4 remaining women. There's one that's still left out there unsettled.
Wow.
But we're getting there. Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer here. I'm Jason Martin. We're here with you until 10 a.m. We're here with you every day until 10 a.m. So it's good to be here. And A.J. Brown is tweeting. So there's going to be a lot to talk about today.
And Dan Campbell.
And yeah.
Talking about one of your
Campbell
old
Jay
flames.
Rose. Yeah. So there's a lot to get to, certainly on this program. The weekend was a lot of fun. It was cool hanging out with the listeners Saturday night, saying hello to some people, putting some faces to names, all of those kinds of things. It was a busy, busy weekend. There was just a lot going on, at least in my world there was. Yeah. I imagine most people felt the same way. And then last night, hanging out at Municipal for Flair's last match and spending some time out there with those folks. And that was a hell of a show. That was a really, really fun show all night long, if you love professional wrestling. But wrestling was just good all weekend in terms of just, you saw what everybody should see when they come to this city, which is the show turning out and the party turning out. And congrats to WWE for knowing how to shoot things in terms of not keeping everybody spread across Nissan, making sure how they strategically sold their tickets to where that drone had the money shot. They claim 48, it's 38, but it's all right. Most of the people will never know, and it looked tremendous when I went back and watched the show on television yesterday. It was a better experience watching it on TV than it was live in terms of the actual show itself, the wrestling itself. But the show was still, while not the best show I've ever seen, it was certainly a pretty good show. It was a pretty good weekend, a lot of fun. So a lot of positives, and then hopefully we're going to finally get close to the end on this Watson story here within the next probably 2 hours.
Yeah, no doubt about it. On a scale of 1 to Nashville, how good did WWE do in the fairgrounds also with everything that happened around Flair?
Well, I mean, they weren't part of that. But
Yeah.
I thought that Flair show was excellent.
Yeah.
Just you had all these promotions represented on the card. It was basically a super indie show. There were more people, I think, in attendance for that last night than there were at AEW Dynamite when they were in town a few months ago. I asked somebody with Conrad how many people they thought were probably there, and they said they had sold around 6.
Yeah.
So 6,000 for that show. It was something else.
Yeah.
And credit to Jeff. Jeff is just a perfect heel. He's such a great old school professional wrestler that knows exactly what he's doing and how to do it and how to get the most out of a little, and just had everybody eating out of his hands. Everything was set up. You had Mick Foley in the front row watching. You had The Undertaker seated directly next to him, and Bret the Hitman Hart right next to them with Diamond Dallas Page sitting behind them. It was a cool night, and it was a tight 2-hour, 55-minute, really well-run, well-structured, not a whole lot of downtime, kind of old-school wrestling show the way you wanted it to be. I was super pleased with the overall night, with the overall show. I went home, and I was like, yep, now I can go to bed. Now the weekend's over, but this was a fun show.
Good. That's good to hear, man. The optics on it was out of this world. Like you said, WWE shot it very well, man. I didn't realize they one-sided that thing, but it didn't matter at the time. I saw a bunch of people on the floor just looked like it was a Nashville party is the way I kind of saw it.
It looked full.
This weekend.
It looked full. It looked shot. It looked big time. They know how to do that. They understand the camera tricks. And it came across well. And most of the people in the industry that I've worked with for many years, the journalists and all them, they all thought the show was really strong or maybe overperformed what they were expecting. I think the expectations were kind of in the middle range, but I left and I just felt like that was a fun evening. It was a fun show. I wish my wife had been there because I do think that people that haven't seen as much wrestling, it doesn't take as much to impress, and you'd have been impressed with the setup and the entrances and just the spectacle of it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a success. It was a success by any stretch of imagination.
Did they rob a Woo Girl trailer for the tractor?
It's not.
Did somebody get knocked off? That would have been the best production ever right there, Jay. Had they just ran up to a Woo Girl, unhitched them, and then just came into Nissan. I saw the tractor. I was like, what the hell?
I mean, it was parked right in front of where our set-aside seats were.
Yeah.
So we were like, all right, so is Brock going to ride it? Yep, he's going to ride a tractor to the ring. He's going to ride a tractor to the ring.
Heavy machinery, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome, man. But good time, good weekend, and officially Pats Day today, Jay, as you said a second ago.
Yep. Not a lot of bad news from the NFL over the weekend in terms of injuries and things like that at camp. Saturday morning, I hosted on Fox. I don't know how much of that aired before the usual programming here takes over locally. I was with Chris Plank, and it was the first time I ever got to work with him. And of course, he's been on the show. But I love Chris Plank, and we had a blast. That was a lot of fun doing that show. And we're talking about they branded training camp on Saturday as back together Saturday across networks, NFL Network, ESPN, ABC. Dude, I can't with this. Like, we're real close to them just putting a screen up that doesn't even move, not even animated, that just says football's almost back for 3 hours, and they block that as time off because I literally watched Josh Allen stand there joking with his quarterback's coach, throwing a football every few seconds in a red jersey. Didn't even see where the football went. Yeah. And they kept that on the screen for like 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah. Man, but I guess if you can get people to come out by the millions to see you release your schedule, and you can get people to come out by near tens of millions to watch names be read off a sheet as to where guys are going to go.
Talk about Madden?
Yeah, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, no, I did not sit and watch a bunch of camp all weekend and listen to people sit there and talk about said camp. But I will say this. Plank made an interesting point. He said that's why they're going to wait on Deshaun, because they didn't want all these reporters at this camp event that they had branded to have to talk about that if the ruling came down that Friday night. So we were just like, well, is it going to be next Friday? Well, it looks like it's going to be again here in about an hour and a half.
Yeah. You're right about that. I think when the NFL does stuff like this, now again, it's cool. They're trying to they are building the brand, Jay. They're all on top of the public, like perception of what the NFL is and how it's appreciative and how it's inclusive and how, look, you're just a part of this as anybody else is. But let me sell you these tickets to the stadium or to this open practice. I saw Pittsburgh sold over 17,000 tickets or administered it. I guess they were keeping count with it. The Titans sold out their practice viewing from my understanding. But of course, they've been doing the whole, not just the Titans. The players have been out on the field with their kids and stuff like that. And I've seen multiple teams do those type of postings. It just means more. It's family and football and all those types of things. Hey, we know you're excited. We're excited too. And if you're trying to cover something up or trying to push something to the back burner, I get it. It's a part of this. But let's get to the real thing. Today is Monday. We got Deshaun and we got pads on. That's all that really matters at this point. By the way, I think Deshaun will still be able to practice. So he's still going to have to be around for those reporters that got a question for him.
But now
he's been practicing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, the suspension doesn't kick in until week 1, if I'm not mistaken. I've seen a guy go through that type of suspension too, and you can practice all the way up until the cut day. So we'll see what it look like for him and what kind of fire he's under from the Cleveland media.
Teresa Walker will join us in the third hour of this show. You can go ahead and nail that down. That'll be around 8:20 this morning. Your chance to join us is pretty much any time around that. 615-737-1045 is the telephone number. Also, Bill Russell, the legend, on and off the court, passing away. Just his importance to the game, you can't really – there's no reason to even sit here and try to discuss it because you're not going to come close. Not going to come close. The elder statesman, just the ambassador of the game globally for such a long period of time. So many current players respect him in a way that you just can barely even quantify. But again, everybody, no one's living forever here.
No.
So Bill lived quite a life.
88 years old, man. A phenomenal life, not just on the field, not just on the court, as you said, Jay, but as a person who cared about people. And he admitted it. He was not just black people, but white people, all players, all people. He stood for that type of stuff. And I just got to say this, just hearing a bunch of stories about him and reading stuff about him over the last day or so is this, man. No matter what you do in life is kind of what I took from him. If you're doing the right thing, you're going to be respected. Like him speaking out for people and stepping up for people like Muhammad Ali. A lot of people frowned upon him, but if his intentions were right, they were pure. And he continued to be a legend. He continued to be a guy that people love and respected. And that's the one thing that I'll say to anybody. If you're standing for something that's completely right and the intentions are pure, you still hold your status no matter what they say about you or try to do to you too, man. That's the one thing I took from him, man, aside from the fact that he seemed to have been an amazing person to the people that knew him. And, of course, like you said, Jay, the ultimate winner. 11 NBA championships. Well, I don't think we'll ever see that again. 5-time MVP, 12-time All-Star, Hall of Famer. He got every award the NBA could have ever given to him. And not just that. Won the national championship at San Francisco College, University of San Francisco. Like that in itself says a lot about him, man. So hell of a life, nothing but respect for a man that did pretty much everything he wanted to do.
So 615-737-1045. Kenny the mailman apparently heard me over the weekend. That's what I see on the screen. So we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you after the break, Kenny. We strategically did not get into A.J. Brown yet because I want a longer segment for that. So we'll do that. We'll do that when we come back. And I bet you we're going to talk about it more before the end of the show, even after this segment. We'll get to Kenny's phone call first, see what's on his mind. 737-1045, Jay Martin, 1045 The Zone. Hey, next time you're at home and you're noticing things that just around the house that just aren't quite right, you got that Bowen basement wall, you got cracks in your bricks, you got doors and windows sticking, chimneys leaning a little bit. These are signs of a possible foundation issue with your home. And when it comes to foundation repair, nobody does it better than my friends at United Structural Systems. Also, if you're seeing this, are you seeing dry soil that's cracking? It looks like it's pulling away from the home. It's leaving holes and gaps next to your foundation. If you got this in cracked brick, that's a sign of settlement with your home. That calls for a foundation repair inspection. You got to have somebody you can trust. It is USS here in our community for over 25 years. Impeccable reputation, A+ with a Better Business Bureau. Locally owned, great people, problem solvers. They want to take the stress out of home repair. They will customize a solution for you depending on your needs. It could be a big fix, yes. Could be a small fix, could be no fix at all. But they'll come out and give you a detailed free estimate, tell you what's going on. You don't pay anything. There's no down payments. Until the work is done, you don't pay a cent. They're going to make sure you're happy. Over 23,000 satisfied customers in county can tell you can feel real good about placing the call. You should do it today. It's 615-227-2275. That's 227-2275 or online at ussTN.com. United Structural Systems. J. Mart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Oh, interesting tidbit. NFL valuations per Sportico. Came out over the weekend. Dallas Cowboys, number one, $7.64 billion. Is the value.
It was like 2 years ago. They were sitting in like 5, I feel like.
Rams, 5.91. Patriots, 5.8. Giants, 5.7. You get to Denver, who just sold for $4 billion. They're 4.65. They're 10th on this list with the Eagles, Commanders, Jets, Bears, Niners, and the aforementioned 4 teams above them. Where are the Titans? Well, they are 23rd in the league, $3.29 billion.
I'm about to build a $1
Steelers
billion
are 13th,
stadium.
by the way, Mo.
Are they?
They are 4.26.
Okay, if the Rams were in St. Louis, are they number 2 on that list?
No.
They're not.
No.
Okay, all right.
That's why you move.
Just had to make sure. Okay, because I was like,
Who's got better sports fans?
Who got better sports fan?
The answer's not close, by the way. I'm throwing this out here to prove a point.
As far as sportsmen, Cowboys? Maybe?
No, I'm saying between the L.A. and St. Louis, who has better sports?
Oh,
fans?
L.A. No. St. Louis does.
By a wide
St.
margin.
Louis does. No.
This ain't about the fans.
No.
This is a Bernie Mac situation.
No, it's basically
Screw
why
them
the
fans.
Rams owner broke his deal with the city, split, and then had the other NFL owners pick up the tab to pay St. Louis off.
Yeah.
That's right.
Who is it because Jerry painted it up super high for his team? He branded it like he
the Cowboys should be probably the most valuable franchise.
Let me retract what I said as far as best fans. I'm thinking of like Jerry overselling the Cowboys to make their fan base feel like it's an all-nation team. Like, I don't think they have the best fans. I think they have a big reach as far as the way Jerry marketed them moving forward in the early 90s or whatever it was. So it
certainly made them even bigger, that's for sure.
He did.
Kenny the mailman, what's up, Kenny?
What's up, Kenny?
Fellas, how are y'all doing?
Good morning.
Good. Listen, I love what I do, but one of the drawbacks that I've always had, I've always worked Saturdays for 36 years. I've never had Saturdays off.
Wow.
So going in mornings, it's all national generic shows. But at 5:15 a.m. this past week, I got to hear a familiar voice. Oh, J. Mart was on. You know what? You did a really good job. I give you a 9. I'd never give out 10s, but you were smooth with your way. If that's the first time you've ever worked with him, that is amazing because you made it look easy. No over-talking. You worked well. You were interesting. But there's only 2 groups that know and appreciate really how much, because you even got up earlier than you usually do to do that show. People that appreciate you doing that, your immediate family, because they know the price you pay, because they're also in it. Be quiet. Don't wake up, Dad. And 2, people that get up early realize what you got to do. So, hey, you had a long weekend, and you did a good job.
Thank
We'll
you.
be listening wherever you're at, buddy.
I appreciate you, Kenny. Thanks, brother.
That's awesome, Kenny.
It's true. It was a little early for Saturday, and I knew it was going to be a late Saturday. We got it.
That's thugging it, Jay.
I cannot save this for Thursday.
That's thugging it, man.
I cannot save this for Thursday.
You got one now? Why we choosing?
Shafe, when did we depart from one another when we were walking back to our respective vehicles? 10:45?
Sounds about right. Yeah. Because we went over the pedestrian bridge and you had to go one direction on second, and then I went up to the Music City Center.
What you got going on, Jason?
If you're going to be a big city,
Yeah.
if you're going to be taken seriously, you got to get parking figured out.
Yeah, buddy.
I got out of my parking space at 5 till 11.
5 to 11.
Okay. I get in a line of cars.
Uh-huh.
Getting out of that parking deck.
Mm-hmm.
My wheels did not move again. I looked at the clock. You want to take a guess?
12:15.
12:53.
Ooh.
I mean, didn't move.
Wait, what?
I didn't get home until after 1:40 Sunday morning.
And you
Shay.
left at 10. You last saw him at 10?
Literally, people got out of their cars, were sitting down on the pavement having conversations, eating.
Like, I was out of the Music City Center parking lot, and I'm not saying this to rub it in.
No, I know. I
but
should have
like
done
just
what you
a little
did.
bit after 11 o'clock.
My wheels
Ran
did
up the
not
station,
roll.
got a bottle of water, drove home. I was at the house by.
So I pulled out of space in the level I was in. I drove around, and then the line was there. I'm like, okay, I've This is the same place we parked for the Titans-Bengals playoff game, and that was about an hour. But this thing, literally my wheels did not roll again until 12:53. I sat in park for an hour and 53 minutes before my car started moving.
And this was half the crowd as the playoff game.
Yeah.
Not even, it was a little less than half the crowd.
I can't begin to tell you.
Oh, my gosh.
How I was just like, I don't know what needs to be done.
Yeah.
This can't happen. You can't have this happening.
I'd be pissed because that's the time you lost.
I took a note. Yeah, I lost, and I was dog tired because I had gotten up to do that 5 a.m. show, as Kenny just mentioned. I appreciate that, but that was my choice. But I'd been up since 4:30 a.m. just trying to get home, knowing, hey, gotta wake up, gotta be with CG during the day, going to the Flair show on Sunday night. Like, it's gonna be another busy Sunday and everything else. It took me 2 hours in that parking deck to move, and another 15 once we started moving to then get out. I didn't pull out of the lot until it was the second segment of the Fox Sports Radio show that was running on the Zone at the time, and I got in the car before 11 o'clock.
That's tough. That make it hard to want to go to events right there, man.
Dude, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That's tough.
It's just like, you know what? It better be something real special. I should have walked from the radio station. I know that a little bit of a haul, but I could have done it. I could have done it. But, and when you said you parked in Music City Center, I said, yeah, I should have done that.
Yeah.
Because I'd bought a ParkWiz pass and got a pretty good deal on it. The passes outside of Nissan were going for $70 right before the show, which I was just like, that ain't happening.
Do you want me to rub it in and tell you how much I paid for parking?
$10.
$10.
I know.
Did you really?
$10.
Should have done it. I
pulled out of that top lot there.
Yeah.
Now, the pedestrians and other vehicles.
But I hate that too. I mean, just going to downtown at night on a weekend 2 weeks in a row just reminds me I don't like doing that. Like, I do it for the Ryman. I'm going to do it a couple times in the fall. I'm going to do it for Pearl Jam.
Ooh, yeah.
Which I can't wait for. But, like, my gosh.
God.
I couldn't even wait till Thursday. It'd have been a great bleep you, Aaron Rodgers. I get it.
Like that.
I couldn't. I was just, and I sat there. It was just like, I know I can't do anything. I listened to 3 full-length podcasts before I got out of that parking garage.
Danny said you could have watched the whole full length.
I could have, but the thing is, you never know how long you actually have.
That's cold.
It was, dog. I don't even know what to say. Let's go to Marsha in Hendersonville. Marsha, what's up?
What's up, Marsha?
Hey there. I was curious to see where the Packers ranked on your list because I am one of the thousands of owners who are very proud. I'm born and raised in Tennessee, but you go to Lambeau Field, and let me tell you, there are those fans, the tailgating, they're sold out. They're on lists to try to get season tickets. Families fight over tickets. So the Cowboys, you had made the statement they have the best fans, and I'm just going to challenge that because there's 2 Packer bars here in Nashville where you can go and hang out, and I'm sure there are more across the nation. But I'm just curious to where they rank. The owners' meeting was this past Monday. I didn't get to go, but they always have thousands of people there. It's just fun.
Sure.
So,
they're 14th on the list at $4.19 billion, one slot below Pittsburgh.
Okay.
There we go, Marsha. Time to buy that lake house.
That's pretty cool, man. It's cool to be an owner in an NFL team.
It's time to buy that lake house, Marsha.
14. Raiders are 15. Just to throw the.
I love to know how they cashed that out, though. As
who's dead last?
Jags.
No, they're 30th.
Cleveland.
They're 2.94. No, Cleveland's 27th. 3.18.
New Orleans.
Cousin Danny, it's your boys.
Cincy.
2.84.
You're Cincy the best.
Man, you ain't handsome.
You might have made the
You damn
Super
sure
Bowl.
ain't cute.
Well, they get powdered eggs for breakfast, man.
We'll see what winning can do for them if they're able to maintain and be a good franchise for a half decade. What's that going to mean?
They got a number 1 schedule now, Jay.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
It ain't going to be easy.
You want to get me started this morning. You knew I needed to hear that information, didn't you? I know you did. I know what you were doing right
Browns
there,
are 27th. Ravens 21st.
Browns are ahead.
Bengals 32nd. Steelers 13th. Just so you know, Steelers are still dominating AFC North.
Wasn't even me being petty right there.
I'm Petty Betty over here. Just call me Petty Betty.
That's cold, Jay. I wasn't expecting. Seriously, I was not expecting it to be saying. Well, who's 31?
31's Detroit. 2.86, which that's too big a city and too good a sports market. But it just shows how bad they've been for such a long time. And they've been run horribly by the Ford family. Horribly. Even though I think they might have a coach.
Yeah. He seems to be getting, even though he had them doing up downs in practice, Jay. I was just, it was trending last week.
Back to high school, Mo.
I'm like, dog, this ain't college. You doing non-football things in the NFL where everybody knows how to play football, Dan Campbell. No, but at least you're ahead of Cincinnati. That is a win right there. God, I couldn't believe it. But to your point, he made a really great. He had a really good quote about Josh Reynolds, which is very shocking to me, man. This is what he said about Josh Reynolds. I like this guy. I'm kind of buying stock on him. I think he could have a big year. He's a smooth athlete and a grinder. He's smart, and golf trusts him. And so I can't say enough about that room in general, and he's a big piece of that. And he also went on to say something else later too. He called him a grinder. He said he's like a praying mantis. So he said he's a different athlete. He's slippery, man. I call him the praying mantis. He's a spider of death. There's something about him. Freaking serpent. So I love where he's at right now. I really do. I'm glad we got him. Boy, don't have a great year in Detroit this year.
Because you had him on. You had him for a sack of crystals.
Not even a sack full, Jay.
No, not a half, like a half sack full.
That one, when I saw Dan Campbell, and think what you want to about Dan Campbell. They have some good receivers in their room. You named off a few earlier, Jay.
Yeah, Marvin Jones, DJ Chark. They drafted Jamison Williams.
Yep.
Dude, they got weapons. And they got DeAndre Swift.
And what is it? Amon St. Brown?
That's right.
Russell Brown?
Yeah.
So for him to be getting that type of praise, man, for a guy that was here and that had a guy that also left that talked bad about your organization a little bit too, and A.J. Brown.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll set it up. But we'll take calls before
there's
we do
more great stuff going on in camp from Robert Woods and also Traylon Burks. Got to give hats off to those dudes. We'll get more into that later into the show, too, if you hadn't seen much of what they did over the weekend.
And the controversy over these helmets.
I didn't think none of it.
Well, it's interesting. I hadn't thought about it, but but the argument is it encourages you to play unsafe with a helmet. And then when you take that thing off week one and you get smacked, you're not as prepared
from the
as
contact
you would
you've
be.
had. Yeah.
I understand that argument.
Yeah.
Those things just look weird to me.
They do.
Like, what is this cadet? Like something from the Jetsons, something from the Flintstones. Let's go to Eric in Nashville, then we'll get to Ben in D.C. Eric, go ahead, man.
What's up, Eric?
Hey, guys, I'm going to get to the rest in a minute because I hated not being there, but I was able to see it on TV. But a couple of your comments about the traffic deal, it just makes you wonder how they dealt with the 4th of July deal. And also you had other events going on Saturday night, too, as well as the Sounds game and the soccer game. So I don't know if that contributed to that. And the next weekend's going to be bad because you've got the Indy deal as well as soccer on the same day. So it's just going to be interesting to see how they all deal with that. But guys, my observations on the wrestling, it was about, I guess, 3.5 hours long. Just loved the fact they got Bayley back. I was surprised to see Dakota Kai with her in that deal. Logan Paul thought did a pretty good job with the Frog Splash and then beating this with the Skull Crushing finale. Also, like the Street Profits coming out in the Titans stuff, being led out by the Titans cheerleaders. I thought that was pretty cool. Also, if you saw it on television, of course, references to the Titans, I heard Baron Corbin said Titans suck, never go to the Super Bowl off the mic. And then I heard where I guess it was Corey Graves said, well, if Baron Corbin was playing for the Titans offensive line, King Henry would rush for 20,000 yards. Which I thought was kind of stupid, but it's just, it's wrestling. You expect that. And like you said, the last man standing match was definitely where Brock Lesnar got all this stuff piled on top of them. But after that, that's got to be the end of that. So you can't have them wrestling anymore. Yeah. But the only thing I didn't like, and I don't know if you guys will feel the same way about this as me, just the whole Seth Rollins Riddle thing.
It was a mistake.
Yeah, I agree. That made no sense. I thought because there were rumors that they were going to have Seth Rollins with the mystery opponents like maybe Bray Wyatt or whatever, but just to do that, for that not having wrestle, I agree. Made no sense to do that. That was my only really big complaint. But all in all, and just seeing the crowd there, it was great. And by the way, Kenny the Man's son Jack was there at the wrestling matches too. So.
Nice.
Like I said, I wish I could have been there, but yeah, it's how it goes, guys. But take care. We'll talk again soon.
Sure, Eric. The Seth thing, look, when everybody is building up the idea there's going to be a mystery opponent, I think it's going to be Johnny Gargano, it's going to be somebody from NXT, it's going to be some big deal, and it turns out to be nothing, and it makes Riddle look like a geek in the process. He's going to win the match in Cardiff. He's beaten Seth at every house show. They're going to go over to this, which is going to be the biggest crowd of the year, by the way. They have to sell just 4,000 tickets over the final months to be bigger than WrestleMania's crowd. They're going to have over 70,000 legit sold in Cardiff at the soccer stadium over there. It's going to be a huge show. Probably going to be Roman and Drew in the main event. But Seth and Riddle will happen there. They pulled it back to add more to it and use SummerSlam as an angle build instead of giving you a Seth Rollins match, which not real thrilled with, honestly. Like, that's a big show. I don't need to see videos of people that aren't here that are bigger stars than some of the people you have on the card, but I just thought it made Riddle look weak just to get beat down for the second time in 6 days. Even though I wanted to see Seth, I'm glad we got to see him for a couple of minutes. There were some other things that I didn't love about the show. One biggest missed opportunity on the show, I was sure she was going to do this, and she didn't do this, especially with the Street Profits doing the Titans thing. Why is Bianca not in orange and white?
Yep.
It was the easiest win because she was a babyface anyway. She comes out in Tennessee colors. She came out in Titans colors, but you were doing that later.
Yeah.
Even with a graphic for the Profits with the Titans with the flaming ball and all of that. Bianca, I couldn't believe she didn't come out in orange.
Yeah.
I was sure she was going to come out in orange because it was such an easy victory. But she didn't. But either way, that was a great match, and the stuff after the match was tremendous. I'm glad to see Dakota back. She was let go in April. As soon as Vince is gone, Triple H goes back to NXT. His people was like, nope, you shouldn't have been let go in the first place. You're going to the main roster.
That's wow.
Immediately, which was tremendous. 615-737-1045. We haven't talked about AJ. Ben wants to talk about AJ. Maybe he'll get us started. A reminder, probably within the next hour, we're going to hear what Sue Robinson has put down in terms of Deshaun, and then the NFL and or the NFLPA can make their choice. But the NFLPA said they're not going to do anything, so they must know something. Sounds like 8 to me. And then we'll see what Goodell does. Because Goodell can just say, no, he's out forever. Because that's how much power he has, and that's what the CBA enables him to do. I don't sense that's going to happen. It just seems like all of this has been, let's just see how little we can get away with. Let's throw these trial balloons out and just watch the reaction and see what we can do.
Yep.
We'll come back. It's Jay Martin on 104.5 The Zone. Hey, so let me tell you about Mortgage Investors Group. Rapidly rising rents now have people putting money to work through rental home ownership. Mortgage Investors Group has a 30-year fixed-rate loan that helps investors maximize cash flow, eliminate rising interest rate risk, all in one easy loan. If you're buying or if you're in a refi on residential rental property, call the experts at Mortgage Investors Group. Find out more about the best rental financing available. As the Southeast's leading mortgage lender, Mortgage Investors Group, they're your answer. They're to help you get not just any loan, but the right home loan. They care. They're going to make sure you close on time, make sure that loan is the right way. They're going to make those home buying goals a reality. And if you're part of that residential rental stuff, they are your answer. Call them today or go to the website. It's migonline.com. That's migonline.com. Find the office nearest you or text MIG to 313-99. That's MIG to 313-99 to get pre-qualified. Mortgage Investors Group, the right home loan. Equal housing lender, license number 109111.
1045 The Zone's 2022 High School Football Media Day, sponsored by Puckett's. It's this Wednesday. Tune in as 1045 The Zone hosts Will Bowling and Lucas Banzica preview the upcoming high school football season in Middle Tennessee. We'll have local coaches, other media members there, special guests as well. 7 to 9 Wednesday night. That's thanks to Puckett's. For more info, visit 1045thezone.com.
Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. Cousin Bam. What's up, Bam?
Yo, what's up, fellas?
How you
feeling?
Bam.
Man, hey, listen, I just want to say Saturday night was an experience. I got to hang out with some of the fam. We all got to kick it. And man, I'm really grateful for y'all. I don't think y'all understand like how big of a magnitude y'all have an effect on us as listeners and fans of the game. And this show is more than just like we just listen on this. You've actually like built relationships, friendships and stuff like that. And it all comes from us just tuning in, listening to y'all, man. Y'all are a big part of our day, our life. And man, I just wanted to say thank y'all. I didn't get a chance to run into y'all. But man, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all for everything that y'all do. And man, Saturday was a super dope experience. I was hoping Randy Orton would have came back out to help, riddle out. But to see Edge come back the way he came back, that was incredible, bro. Like, I'm tired of seeing Roman Reigns with the belt too, man. I'm almost kind of like ready to see somebody dethrone him. But SummerSlam was a total success, man. It was dope. It was good seeing the fam, man. And man, I hope y'all have a great day.
You too, man. Yeah, I know. It was like you and a few of the other listeners got together and got tickets together, and what was it, Zach Bunch?
Zach Bunch, Scooby, and Bam were all in that same row.
Yeah,
Scooby
cool.
said he didn't get home to 145.
Well, that's right about where I was. It was literally later than it would have been if I had done the usual Fox show I do on Saturday nights. It was later than that when I got to bed. I was just like, my gosh, what is going on here? So this is where we begin to ignite the fire.
Set us up, Ben.
Ben in D.C. Ben.
Good morning to y'all brothers.
Good morning.
You too.
Let's talk about A.J. Brown real quick. So wanted him to get paid. Didn't want him to get traded, but he got traded, right?
Right.
My man still hasn't moved on. And who was mentioning A.J. Brown yesterday to the point that he just decided to take shots at Titans fans, man? It sounds like the grass isn't greener on the other side. He might be in training camp seeing some of those passes and realize that he wishes he was still back in Tennessee. That's the vibe that I'm getting from him, man. I really wished him nothing but the best. But at this point, man, he's getting carried away. He might not even be on the fantasy team. We're at that point right now. You know what I'm saying? So, like, AJ, calm down. Take a break, bro. Like, we still got love for you, man, but you ain't got to keep coming for our necks. You wanted out. You weren't taking the phone calls from your receiver coach. You weren't doing any of that stuff, man. So don't come back and try to get at us now. I'm out.
That's real. It came out of nowhere. I don't even know. I don't know if y'all like were tweeting at AJ or what this weekend to actually kind of jumpstart this 11 hours ago tweet that he put out and just drop the mic real quick, Jay. I'm a little shocked by this one. This one's a little iffy, man, for it to be training camp time.
Yeah. So you sent us in the chat. You sent the message that he tweeted out. Most of you probably already saw it, but AJ tweeted out around 7:30 last night. Basically, all four of us, meaning the four receivers, Deebo, DK, AJ,
and Terry
McLaurin. Basically, all four of us got the same contract, and I'm the only one got traded. Yeah, keep believing it was me. Anywho, go Birds. #carry on. All right. You can't do that tweet and then say, anywho. You can't do that when you drop that information first. So, look, we can talk about different things as it relates to A.J. Brown. Do I wish he was still here? Yeah, I do. I mean, I think you can look at the situation with the Niners where they paid Deebo, knowing they have to pay Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
And I think Nick's going to get more than Jeff. And say, well, if your argument was you had to let AJ go in order to pay Jeff, that could be a tough pill to swallow if they end up keeping both their guys in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And you heard basically John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, I heard this come out this morning from the weekend. They said back in March when he asked for the trade, it's like, you're too important to our offense. We can't let you go. We got to find a way to make this work. You're too important to what we want to do. I find it hard to believe AJ wasn't very important to what the Titans did.
Yeah.
To AJ's point, he is the only one that went somewhere else.
Yep.
But you didn't have to unless you wanted to. Like, you could have taken an offer. Clearly, there's a difference here. But the bigger thing is, you're gone. You're gone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Titans fans that have not let this go, even though they're saying 99% have moved on. No, you haven't.
You're right.
No, you haven't. But AJ's got to let this go or it's going to dog him into the season.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you've got a football team to worry about that has a chance to win the division.
Yep.
This is not a thing that you need to be talking about. So it's 6:53 a.m. That's around the time we're supposed to go to break. So let's do that so that we have more time to talk about this on the other side. We'll get Moan's thoughts, and then I think we can get into a much deeper discussion about once you leave a place, stop talking about said place. Otherwise, you give up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If I'm a Philadelphia fan, I'm just like, gosh, will this guy shut up about the team that he left? Like, why is this happening? Like, there's no need for this. You've got a new place. You've got the money that you wanted, right?
Yep.
What's the problem? This ain't Fred. You're not Freddie Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's buying into that. You had the opportunity to stay. We'll come back. We'll talk about it after the headlines. It's Jay Martin on 104.5 The Zone. Genesis Diamonds opening up the vault with their largest GIA diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all Genesis GIA diamond engagement rings are going to be marked down 20%. And that's 20% below the already unbeatable Genesis price. That means you can buy like a dealer buys, deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings, remarkable savings on every GIA diamond engagement ring, half carat to 20 carats, all shapes. You got your rounds, your cushions, your princess cuts, your emerald cuts, your ovals, your pear shapes. Remember, all Genesis diamonds handpicked, come straight from the diamond cutters, graded by the GIA, the most prestigious gem lab in the world. At Genesis, you know their everyday prices are unbeatable, but for this event, they're taking value to a whole new level with an additional 20% savings. Don't miss this chance to save like never before on that exquisite diamond ring. Buy like a dealer buys. It starts Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at my jewelry store, Genesis Diamonds. Limit one per customer, please. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
It is 7:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Titans took yesterday off. We'll return to the St. Thomas Sports Park practice fields this morning. Beginning at 9:30, they'll be in pads as well. The Buck Rising Show live from Titans training camp beginning at 10. A decision is expected to be issued within the hour on whether Deshaun Watson violated the league's personal conduct policy following accusations of sexual misconduct. According to reports, Watson has agreed to settle 3 of the remaining 4 active civil lawsuits against him. Deebo Samuel agreed to a 3-year contract extension with the San Francisco 49ers. The deal is worth a maximum value of $73.5 million over the 3 years and includes just over $58 million in guarantees. And Bill Russell, who won 11 titles during his legendary career with the Boston Celtics, one of the true icons of the NBA, died on Sunday. The Hall of Famer was 88 years old. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home of the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Hour 2, J. Martin and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Ramon Foster and Jonathan Schaefer are here. I'm Jason Martin at Ramon Foster, at Schaefer on Sports, at J. Mart Radio, at J. Mart and Ramon. Go to allfourseasonsgarages.com to learn all about the reason we're here. All Four Seasons Garage stores right here in Nashville. They put up the new system in my house. It's fantastic. You need to do the same one. The J. Mart LiftMaster Special. That's not a thing. They should make it a thing. And because you're not me, they might actually save you some money.
No, baby.
Me, they charge me twice. Which I would too. I completely understand. I know exactly what they're doing. Deshaun Watson ruling coming down probably before we do this again at the top of next hour. And then we find out then Goodell and the NFL and or the NFLPA can then appeal. If not, then that ruling will become final, and that'll be what they go with. We're getting there. All right, so we talked about AJ, and everybody's in the chat on Zone TV hanging out. We appreciate everybody having a good time. All right, so AJ Brown. I got more, but I want you to talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, you want to go back to the tweet and see what he said at first, just for who didn't hear it, man. From A.J. Brown yesterday. You got him, dog. It's from about 7:30 last night. Basically, all 4 of us got the same contract, all the receivers, and I'm the only one got traded. Yeah, keep believing it was me. Anywho, go Birds. # carry on. Just nobody was asking for this. I'd have been happy for my homeboys that just got paid. The agent that represents all of us, Tory Dandy, killed it. Like, want to talk about best? Oh, I think Buck does best week ever, best weekend ever, whatever case. Like, Tory Dandy got the best half of the year down. Like, we're officially in the second half of the year, and Tory Dandy pretty much got it wrapped up on the first half, like killing it during the season. He's the go-to guy as far as success right now as NFL agents, man. But just from AJ tweeting that, man, I'm just thinking to myself, like, did you really want to leave? Like, after the fact, were you immature about your approach to what happened here with the Titans, man? Did Titans fans really hurt your feelings? Because this was unwarranted. Like, you're in camp right now. You're actually with the other team. And listen to me, the way NFL contracts work, guess what? You sign your deal, and whatever your signing bonus was, you get that within 15 days. So guess what, Jay? The money's in the bank already. Like, be happy about that. You got the biggest number deal out of all of them. I think he's number 3 on the list of Tory Dandy's guys that got overall money, overall contract guarantees. DK, again, he loses to DK again. Everybody looks at DK as a little bit higher than him. I don't know why, how, whatever case. DK overall, he got 58.2 fully guaranteed. Deebo got 58.1. So $100,000 less than what DK got. And AJ got 57.2. So he lost about $1 million from the top of being at the top of the food chain as far as overall money. His deal was 4 for $100. He actually has the highest average of all 4 of the guys that got signed, including Scary Terry McLaurin. So I'm just trying to figure out what it was. Like, AJ, would you have been okay considering you're going at Titans fans with taking about $21 million? Like, is that where you were? Like, you get to camp and now you're realizing, well, I actually got to work a little bit harder. Because that's the thing about switching teams. When you switch teams like that, you got to actually, it's like going into a new school. Punch the first guy that you see because, hey, I'm trying to prove my point. Like, he's got to actually practice. He's got to actually go about his business, say, I got to prove myself to my new teammates. Whereas here, Vrabel took care of him. The medical staff knew everything about him. The expectations was, well, AJ, we'll see him on Sundays. Now he doesn't get that luxury anymore, man. I know Tennessee fans, all Tennessee fans, Vols included, are brutal on social media. But he didn't have to do this, Jason. Like, this was one of those situations where, dog, we're happy for you. We actually are. And I've seen fans say that. Do you wish you had AJ 100%? He is a weapon. You got a young guy here in Traylon Burks who's got to find his way, and we don't know what that's going to look like. We knew what A.J. Brown looked like here. It's just, who hurt you, man? Like, should you have stayed? Is that where you are? And I almost want to say that ain't how he feels. It's just that he finds a point to get petty with this fan base. And I'm telling you, I heard, who was I listening to? I was listening to Kevin Hart, and they were speaking about Philadelphia. And everybody to a T that's been there or at least is from Philly says the exact same thing, Jason. They say, look, if you win, we'll love you. Mm-hmm. If you don't, they will eat you alive, man. So I don't know if he's going to feel that pressure. He kind of knows that the case, or he saw something in camp he just doesn't like. It's clear he wanted to be here. But you got your bread. Move on. Like this wasn't the tweet to be sent out last night.
I don't think that's clear about him wanting to be here.
You don't think he wanted to be here?
Not from the look.
Well, why? Well, the tweet's confusing.
Let me say, well, what's confusing is when he said 16 to 20 because we know verifiably that's not true.
Right.
The 16 to 20 deal that he told Tehran.
Yeah.
And this isn't on Tehran. He did tell Tehran this. That's not true.
It wasn't. Yeah.
That's not accurate at all.
Not accurate.
Not even close to accurate, as a matter of fact.
Boy.
The demands and the way this played out, Shafe and Moan, it seemed to me that AJ and his representation were trying to throw numbers out there and demands out there so they could get out, not to get paid here.
Well, and they also wanted to use him to set as high of a ceiling as possible. And push that even more for the receivers that were still going to get re-signed, redone, or perhaps even traded from their teams later on. Look, let's look at it this way. Name me the starting running back for the Washington Commanders.
It's what's his name?
From Memphis, ain't it?
You already answered it. Seattle.
Penny.
Rashad Penny.
Okay. The 49ers. Oh, wait, Deebo's the entire offense for the 49ers.
Well, they let Mostert go.
Right.
But they've got Mitchell and a couple guys.
Yeah, who's the starting running back for the Tennessee Titans?
Derrick Henry.
Your offensive philosophy was already chosen and set. They were happy to have A.J. Brown back at a price to where he's not the focal point of the offense.
He's a bonus.
The wide receiver is on all those other teams that I mentioned. So he wanted to get paid like those guys and be the focal point, and it wasn't going to happen here.
Mm-hmm.
The Julio deal complicated things because of moving Tannehill's money around. You were going to have to cut somebody if you were going to sign A.J. Brown to that deal in order to make it work salary cap-wise-ish. You were probably going to cut somebody you didn't want to cut because of how they had set it up in terms of the structure. And I think the Titans were looking at it saying, this is the number, we're not going over. And at that time, the market got reset on them. Because it surprised all of us a little bit when that wide receiver market got reset as harshly as it did. And I think A.J. Brown started peeking over the fence going, grass is pretty green over there.
Yeah.
I think it was a combination of all of those factors.
Yeah. And again, if he wanted to be here, he'd be here, folks. He can tell you whatever he wants to tell you. I do think there is something to this version of A.J. Brown we started to see increasingly. Got in his feelings a little bit. He was all over social media a lot. That ain't Vrabel, man. And that's not John Robinson either. He did not match the philosophy of this team. He did not match the mentality of this team. there was a level of emotional, is it fair to say immaturity, to the way he conducted himself in public on social media.
Yeah.
Like, this stuff you can handle business-wise behind closed doors, but continually putting it out there and saying some of the stuff that he said just told me, man, there might be a disconnect between front office and head coach and player here, because players acting in a way that didn't seem to match a lot of the other guys on this team. Let's just say that.
No doubt. And to your point about importance also, this is a Derrick Henry team.
No question. That's a great point.
It just simply is. I do kind of want to see Derrick get a little bit of an increase considering what's in front of him this year too. But I'll say this too. If you look at where the money at, it's a Derrick Henry defensive team. The money's on the defensive side of the ball. It just is. Because I'd almost think Vrabel believes in the mindset, look, if the offense is good enough and we game people enough and we churn away at the clock enough, then our defense is going to get us out of a lot of ball games. And they did that. They put that on Front Street last year in front of the world against the future world champions. You remember what they did to the Rams? Like you say what you want to, that defense rose up against A squads last year.
Yes.
And what did the offense do in those games? I know AJ had his moments against the 49ers, didn't he? I'm not sure what he did against the Rams. Did he come out early in that game? But the in and out aspect of what he did last season, I don't think helped his cause. Yes, he had a good year. He was an important part of this team. But I think the defense kind of jumped over the top of him, along with the importance, if not for the optics of Derrick Henry, that's where it lies right now. And I'll say this too, with the acknowledgement of that, I still have a little bit of an issue with that. I love to see a little bit more of the passing game, but I don't think that's the way they want to operate, and that's okay. And because of that, AJ was out, and he couldn't find a number that was going to keep him here.
So here's the other side of this argument real quickly as we go into this break. Think about this. Again, Deebo got his bag yesterday, okay? They've got to pay Nick Bosa. They're going to pay him more, I think, than Tennessee is going to pay Jeff. But it's going to be somewhere close. But the argument was always, well, to keep Jeff, you can't keep AJ. There's one big difference between the Titans and the 49ers. $26 million they're about to not pay Jimmy Garoppolo because they have a young quarterback.
Yep.
That remains the key to this league. Look at the Chargers and how much money they just spent in free agency and who they acquired. Look at the Bengals. They retooled the offensive line. Last year they paid on the defensive side of the ball, and they drafted well offensively.
Yes, sir.
Look at these young teams and look at the blueprint.
Miami.
The blueprint is a quarterback on a first contract that enables you flexibility everywhere else. You didn't have Jimmy Garoppolo that you could now basically take off your books, because I guarantee you by week one they're not going to have him on that roster. They are not planning to have that salary on their roster. You have Tannehill.
Yep.
And because of the deal and the extension from a couple of years ago, you weren't in a position you didn't believe because of the cap to cut him and move on, or to trade or do whatever it is. It didn't give you the same flexibility. So you didn't have the capital to potentially have a Nick and a Deebo because you have a Trey Lance.
Yeah.
That's the key. I don't know if Trey Lance is good or not, but if they're betting on it, you can understand why that's the valuable play here. And that's why if Malik Willis hits
in that window,
then we can start to talk about spending money on some big-time contributors 2-3 years down the line. That's something that you should not forget. 615-737-1045. Chris, we'll get to your call after the break here. Reminder, the Deshaun news probably coming within the next 45 minutes or so. You're starting to see setups on TV right now. They're reading the PA statements. They're bringing people on to talk. It's coming, folks. It's Jay Martin and Mo on 1045 The Zone. So facility management, it takes a team to keep a facility running smoothly. We had Conrad Thompson, the Podfather. He was on Friday's show before, promoting StarCast and the Flair show over the weekend. Conrad has a team of over 40 people working on podcasts. 40 people to make sure that empire is running smoothly. Your customers rely on you to have your HVAC, your plumbing, your electrical systems, everything in top shape. So you better talk to Lee Company. They offer complete facility solutions that includes assisting staff and handling management and maintenance. They can do your HVAC, your plumbing, your electrical, your general maintenance, the new technology, the touchless technology, everything. They become your on-site strategic partner as you continue to grow, working with unique facilities, offering custom solutions. This isn't a new thing for them. Lee Company's been in this business for a long time, and they are flat-out experts with it. They can analyze your operations, provide actionable data, handle repairs. Lee Company is ready to help where and when you need them for your facility 24/7. Visit them online at leecompany.com and click My Facility to learn more. J. Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. So here it is, Ian Rappaport. Parties involved in the disciplinary hearing for Deshaun Watson have been informed by Judge Sue Robinson. Watson should be suspended 6 games, sources say. So now Goodell can change that if he wants to, which is kind of weird about this whole process. Sue Robinson, it's basically just an opinion. If they both accept, meaning the NFLPA as well as the NFL, then this becomes the deal. But Goodell could come back and say, no, it's going to be 8, or no, it's going to be the season. Either way, 6 games is the number. That's the same number, by the way, that Nuke Hopkins is out for PEDs.
Yeah.
And 11 games less, plus whatever playoff might be there, that Calvin Ridley is out.
If you're a Browns fan, you say nothing. You don't rejoice. You just be like, oh, okay, y'all be quiet. We got one. This in the terms of what we thought a suspension would be for this type of accusations is lower. I was thinking 8. To Jason's point, Goodell and NFL has the final say-so in it. They do. Which means that, like, of course, when Ben had his situation, it went from 6 to 4. I've seen guys always get their games reduced. It's always been the case. The only person that hadn't gotten anything reduced was probably Calvin Ridley, right? Like, you got a year and you're standing on that one. All right, so we can really start breaking this one down in the sense of what, how, and why this is happening as far as the suspension. I'll say this, and you kind of saw this for a while. The NFL doesn't want to let Deshaun go. They just don't. He's still been put across all of their main commercials. He's on their network. The Browns have put him on front page of everything. He is a star, and this league has a hard time getting rid of stars, especially young stars too. Cleveland's in a position. Owners look out for one another, man. They just do. And I feel like the Hasms are in a situation now to say, look, we need this one. And it shows that they need them because they gave away $230 million guaranteed. He didn't. The grand jury didn't indict him, which we talked about this a second ago. Or they didn't find cause to go to trial for him or to officially charge him. In a legal court, he's not guilty because he didn't stand trial. Right now, public perception, we probably all agree you did something that was, if for anything, was creepy. You abused your power to get what you wanted out of those massage therapists. This is 6 games is low, in my opinion. I thought at least 8. Heck, earlier this year I said he'd probably get 24, just simply because of what the optics and the conversations around this was. I can't see them standing on 6 as far as Roger Goodell in the NFL does, but he is a young star in this league, Jay. We know how that works as far as sports goes. As long as he's not actually serving time and have a sentence behind it, he's going to play. 6 games. Where are you at right now on this? And I see you still going through a bunch of stuff over there as far as like reading it, but I thought it was a little light.
I don't know what to say other than you shouldn't be surprised. I think it's gross. Him being on a football field is the last thing I care about. I'm not sure he should even be free. But, again, the settlements happened. There's still 1 sitting out there, but 23 are settled. 3 more were settled yesterday. NFL star player. If this was Davis Mills, you'd never see him in the league again.
Nope.
They would have banned him almost immediately. They wouldn't even have had this process. There would have never been a Sue Robinson to begin with.
Nope.
If this were Taylor Heineke, you'd have never heard from him again.
Nope.
In baseball, Trevor Bauer, gone. In effect, his career's over. 2 years in addition to what he had already been out for. And who's going to sign him after this? Nobody likes him anyway. Yeah. I don't know if Deshaun's not viewed that way in terms of inside the league by teammates and by all that kind of stuff. But 6 games. What do you got to do to be knocked out for the season?
Yeah.
I mean, what would Deshaun Watson have had to do then? That would be my question. That's gross. It really is. I know that Goodell could then, and then look, NFL could then go real optic and be like, no, we're going to make it 8. They're probably not. But if they did that, then it would like they were actually trying to throw the hammer down a little bit more from an optics standpoint. 6 is so much of a joke. After all of this, after all the reporting, the New York Times articles, the SI articles, because Brent has changed jobs during the course of this investigation. Man, as long as you don't go to the integrity of the game, if you're good enough, they'll find a way to keep you there, because Calvin Ridley now all of a sudden casts doubt on whether or not the games are being decided legitimately. PEDs, unfair advantage. Nuke Hopkins is out for the same amount of time Deshaun Watson is.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that those are equal violations. But because the NFL is more worried about the integrity of the games being played for the sake of the money and television partners, the gambling aspect of all of it, all of that kind of stuff. You just told half your audience, because it's the one American sport that has a large female audience. You get the whole family watching football. You just told them, yeah, y'all matter, but Deshaun Watson, though. That's what you've done in this case.
Yeah, you did. And the NFL did everything around this to protect themselves, too. They ended up getting a former federal female judge also. And not just a judge. She's I'm looking her up now. She's 69, 70 years old.
She had no experience in any of this, though. That's what's so funny. If you go and look at what she actually dealt with as a judge, it's almost like, let's pick a woman, but let's pick a woman who has never dealt with sexual assault cases or anything like this, and let's let her make the call.
Yep. What do you say? Congratulations, Cleveland. You scummy enough. You actually got away with it. I'm not hating on the fact because of it. Look, he wasn't proven guilty, and we have somebody in the room, Shafe, that's actually, been on the grand jury before as far as, what goes to court and what doesn't go to court. He's in a position to where he had enough money to fight it or buy them off. And the NFL, to your point again, Jay, would not just let this stay down and let him be out of the league for something that he wasn't guilty of. And the other side of this too, Jay, is you also have owners who have been in similar situations. So if you're going to fight one, you got to fight the other. And I don't think they're at a point to where they were just like, okay, let's ban this guy. Because you start pulling out all of the NFL's, the Shield's dirty laundry too. Now, I know Robert Kraft's situation was a little bit different. He walked into a place, an establishment, but they're both in the same boat to me, Jay, if I can be honest about it.
They are, except one
they're in the same boat.
Was consensual and the other wasn't.
Well, see, here's the part behind Deshaun, and what I'm going to say is not defending him. Stories can change after the fact. There was one person. I'm not going that route with this one. Look, it's scummy.
Here's how Deshaun Watson could have gotten a year, folks. Here's how he could have gotten a year. If he had been on FanDuel while he was sexually assaulting those women on the massage table.
Yeah.
If he had his phone out and he was betting on the Texans or against the Texans, he'd be out for a year. But because he didn't gamble while he was victimizing women, allegedly, he's only out for 6 games. By the way, he will lose none of his signing bonus. He received $15 million yesterday.
Did he?
He's got a $44.9 million signing bonus. This from Phil Yates at ESPN. 6-game suspension because of the way the Browns set up his salary. It's going to cost him a cool $333,000. That's it.
I'm saying Cleveland Browns fans on social media right now, ecstatic.
I would not be doing that at all.
Imagine, Jay. Imagine. And I'll just say this from the side that I was on as far as my quarterback being banned and his legal issues that he had going on too. You want to talk about there wasn't a nastier fan base than theirs when we went into Cleveland, to play games. And now that the shoe's on the other foot, we're watching them rejoice about a guy in which they criticize a guy on the other side of the sideline, other side of the field. I'm talking about just nasty. But it goes to prove, Jay, if you have a talent in this world, if you have enough power in this world, and in his case, enough bread to actually pay off some stuff, and they're not the only persons to ever do anything like this as far as Ben goes, as far as Deshaun goes, as far as almost anybody, Robert Kraft, Say whatever you want to. That's just what it is. But the art of winning, Jay, the feeling of being a part of a winning game, a winning team, a winning organization makes you shut up and just be excited about it.
Part of the ruling, Watson is required to get all future massages from therapists hired by the team. So the Browns have to hire therapists for him. So you're revealing he did something wrong right there. And you're saying he violated the personal conduct policy. But, 6 games, we'll get you back out there. So the games he's going to miss: Panthers week 1, Jets week 2, Steelers week 3, Falcons week 4, Chargers week 5, Patriots week 6. Set to return week 7 against Baltimore.
A divisional game.
Against Lamar Jackson.
Ain't that a Sunday night game or Monday night? I think
I'm sure it is.
I thought it was. Oh.
Schaefer, your thoughts?
You told half of your audience you don't care about women. That's just where I'm at with this. If there was a videotape like there was in the Ray Rice situation, Deshaun Watson's out for a year. That's how much that piece of evidence would have been involved in all this. 6 games? Nah. It's not enough. It's just not. And I know I can hear people yelling at their car radios right now going, didn't face any criminal cases, didn't go to court. Going through grand jury and then prosecuting sexual-related offenses is extremely difficult for a variety of reasons that none of the 3 of us sitting in this room right now are qualified to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
He has all of the civil cases but one now settled. And again, Jason, as you mentioned, as long as it doesn't involve the integrity of the game, you can buy your way out of stuff.
Let me ask you this. Why suspend him at all then? Why suspend him at all? Why suspend Zeke at all? Why suspend Ray Rice at all? Why suspend Kareem Hunt? I mean, listen to this. Calvin Ridley, 17 games gambling. Vontaze Burfict, 12 games targeting. Martavis Bryant, indefinitely for weed.
For what?
For weed.
They don't even test for that anymore.
Josh Gordon, 25-plus games for weed. Darren Waller, 16 games for substance abuse. I'm not saying
and
any
now
of
they
those are
parade
right or
him
wrong.
around like, oh, look at the success story that he is. Matter. Let me correct that. They don't test for marijuana if you're not in a team setting anymore. So guys are getting tested now for marijuana. So technically, Martavis Bryant could be playing currently in the NFL because the NFL botched those rules too.
Remember,
and again, to the Darren Waller situation. Oh, now they want to specialized report on how his recovery is now after the fact when they suspended him for not trying to help him earlier, when we as a union for the longest time said, look, a lot of these guys come from situations and deal with stuff that we have no idea about. So why take them away from the one thing that actually helps them? Keep them in the game. Help assist them with therapies, with talking to psychologists with this substance abuse stuff.
Remember Tom Brady too.
God,
he deflated
balls.
Got suspended.
Yeah.
But again, weed, 25-plus games, 16-plus games, indefinitely. All the stuff. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying that's 10 less than a guy who has 25 sexual violence and harassment allegations and accusations. 23 that have now been settled.
Mm-hmm.
And they say in the ruling, he violated the personal conduct policy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying you've got to get all of your massages from Brown's hired therapists. What are they saying? They are saying, dude, you're really important, so we're going to let you play, but you've got to get yourself.
They're basically telling him, it was Judge O'Brien had a quote the other day, and he was joking on this little segment he had. It's like, I know I smelled a little crack around. You smell like right now they're telling him, I smell a little creepiness around you, Deshaun. I know. So because of that, we're going to set all of this up for you. Also begs to ask the question, Jay, what did the Texans know or allow or do beforehand, considering they decided to pay off people?
They settled quick.
No, and not just that, like Deshaun, we'll funnel it to you.
Boys, the NFL getting info out on reporters right now.
Come on.
Boy, are they trying to mitigate the damage. You start looking at a lot of the NFL national reporters, and you're getting a very heavy NFL-sided narrative that's going out there right now.
Well, we all know they're all in the tank.
Why is that, Shafe?
You know why.
Because they get paid through them. Or they get uplifted by them. Yeesh. Again, for a guy that sat on the other sideline across from the Browns for years, okay, and the way they went at my quarterback is just like, y'all are really rejoicing right now. You remember what y'all were saying just years ago? Wow.
Yeah. Cousin Andrew in Portland will take us to the break. Andrew?
PG-13 is what I promised Schaefer. First of all, I remember when Deshaun was interviewed about all this, not necessarily interviewed, but asked questions about it, and he specifically said, I will not settle. I want to clear my name. Settling, and I understand innocent until proven guilty. I understand all of that. So please, people, don't come at me with that narrative. But when you've settled with this many people, and the team that also had a lawsuit against them on your behalf settled as well, you've done something that is inappropriate. And what the NFL just did with if they uphold this 6-game suspension, if they uphold this, let me tell you what I don't want to see this season or in the future. I don't want to see any more quality commercials. Take it off the back of the helmets. I don't want to see any of that, because if you are going to allow someone to play in your league and accept that much guaranteed money, I understand that the equality was for African Americans and there's gay pride months and all this, and I support all that stuff. But you are double-sided with this, because you're telling them that those things matter but women do not. I understand the whole innocent until proven guilty crap, but I'm sorry, NFL, I don't want to see those commercials if you uphold this and you allow someone who gambled $1,500 when he wasn't even playing in the game be suspended for a year. But this man with that many sexual harassment charges and everything else on him can play after 6 games. That's just insane. So y'all have a good one.
Thanks, Andrew. 615-737-1045. That's a breaking news. Deshaun Watson is 6 games from Judge Stu Robinson, now 3 days for the league and or the PA, who have said they're not going to file. Well, of course not. They knew it was about to be 6 games. They weren't going to appeal that. Goodell could change it. He could make it more. He could make it less, but he won't. But he could make it more. But as it's kind of going through and you're reading the big wigs that cover this league, they're all sort of, yeah. By the way, this quote, I'll get it to you afterwards. Tom Pelissero has a few more things from her decision about what she's suggesting and what she said about the pattern of behavior from Deshaun Watson. We'll tell you what that is. 615-737-1045. We'll take your thoughts as well. Teresa Walker joins us next hour. Jay Martin, Ramon, 1045 The Zone. Welcome back. Jay Martin and Ramon, 6 games is what Sue Robinson says for Deshaun. It could change. Remember this. NFL had said they wanted a year. Remember they said this months ago. And they told Deshaun and his people they would not settle for less than 12. Comes out today from Sue Robinson, 6. They can appeal it. I think that process begins next week, so this could change. So Goodell could come back and just say, no, it's going to be 8. No, it's going to be more.
And he has last say-so in that one, too, if I'm not mistaken.
He does. He can just say whatever he wants. I want to read this again because I remember reading it at the time. Going back to Vrentis's article, there were some details there nobody really ever needed to know about Deshaun Watson and all of that. But there was something about this I think is really important to mention. It's 615-737-1045, by the way. To those that are just like everybody want to get paid and all that. The problem with that is there are women who did not join the lawsuit, that never filed, that went to the New York Times privately and said, I want to tell you this behavior is legitimate. Here's what happened to me. I don't want my name out there. I'm not part of the lawsuit because I feel so much shame about what happened to me, and I don't want my immediate family. I don't want my husband. I don't want my kids to know what happened to me. But they told Jenny Vrentis, but we want you, we want it known that this checks out with what happened to us. That to me is hugely significant, at least from my standing. Look, I don't know if that evidence was ever put forth in court. It wasn't because they weren't part of the lawsuit.
Yeah.
But it's something that we know. So what was it that was said by Sue Robinson in this piece? This is a quote. Pattern of behavior was egregious.
We knew it.
Notes that behavior was nonviolent, and that's the decision. Here's the precedent. Zeke got 6, Ben got 6, reduced to 4. Neither one of those had criminal charges either. So it's kind of in the same line with those.
What they've done in the past.
And if you start looking at, people I like, Albert Breer, Rappaport, and all of them, they're being real careful here in all of this. But they said pattern behavior egregious in the ruling, and it's still 6 games.
You know why they're being very careful? Because when week 1 hits, when 9/11 weekend hits this year on game day, guess what's going to happen, Jay? They're going to wash this right under the rug, and everybody's going to be fans of their team. And we'll wait till week 7, probably about week 6, 5 or 6, and they start to play it up just a little bit more. But they'll suppress it even more, though, then, too, depending on what the Browns are doing. And it's a 1 o'clock game against the Baltimore Ravens whenever he comes back, if it stays at 6 games. There's just so many factors behind this, too. Again, it's one of those situations where you see the movies like, follow the money. The money says what? Deshaun's powerful enough. The NFL is big enough to where they don't want all of this bad press moving forward.
They don't even care about the press.
But they ended up, selecting a judge who's a female. To your point, had never done any type of situation like this. But this is 2 sides of it as far as being dirty. A good negotiation is what both sides feel dirty. The NFL probably looked at this as, we got a female federal judge. But the PA looked at this and said, well, she's never really tried a case like this. She's a female judge, but she's 69, 70 years old. She's far removed from the NFL as far as her interest in it. So she'll just do this as if this is her day-to-day job. And she'll know he wasn't guilty, never went to trial, never had to do anything behind it. And what does your past history say you did to NFL? You gave this guy 6 games, you reduce it to 4? She probably looking at it as Ben's situation or Ezekiel Elliott is like, well, you've done this before. I can't give him more than 10. I can't give him more than 6. Y'all have never done this before. But gamble on the game, though, Jay. That's a different story. Smoke weed. I saw a guy's life ruined behind the flower that we told him, look, he probably needs a little bit more assistance than you to suspend him. You think if he's suspended for 6 weeks, you think he goes away and stops cold turkey? No. You gave him zero resources. But now we got the Cleveland Browns on the hook saying, guess what? Man, we'll give him therapy himself. We'll also book his massage therapist. Why are you booking his massage therapist?
If he didn't do anything.
If he never had an issue.
Yeah, if he's innocent and all, I don't. Here's the other part to what you're saying as we get to this break. I see Danny and Dave, and we'll get to your phone call certainly right after the headlines. Think about this as well. I saw somebody in the chat just a minute ago say NFL lost so many fans. Here's the thing. No, they didn't. They didn't lose any.
Week 1.
And they know they didn't lose any. Because football is that big. I mean this too. They told women you don't really matter here. Okay? All those women are still gonna watch. So that's what the NFL is banking on. If you want this to change, then actually stop watching. But it's got to be en masse. It can't be one guy breaking a Keurig because of a political stance or whatever. It has to be all of it. It has to be everybody stepping up.
This Friday and Saturday was family day in the NFL. You think they kind of knew this was the case before Friday and Saturday?
Well, this is why this didn't come out on Friday before you had everybody at training camp and you had a branded event across the league on Saturday, the back together Saturday. And as you mentioned, the family stuff, you do it after all that. And now you've got a week to make sure all your ducks in a row with all your journalists that you have your relationships with and all of that. NFL is banking that they're bigger than anything else and that you're going to watch because you love their league so much. And they're right. Until further notice, they're right. As sad as that might be as a commentary. We'll come back much more. Danny's call, Dave's call will lead us off after the headlines. It's Jay Martin and Mo, 104.5 The Zone.
It is 8:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson will serve a 6-game suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy following accusations of sexual misconduct. However, Commissioner Roger Goodell does have final authority over the ruling that was handed down today from Judge Sue L. Robinson. Deebo Samuel agreed to a 3-year contract extension with the San Francisco 49ers. The deal is worth a maximum value of $73.5 million over the 3 years and includes just over $58 million in guarantees. Titans took yesterday off. They'll return to the St. Thomas Sports Park practice fields this morning. Beginning at 9:30, they'll be in pads as well. The Buck Rising Show will be live from Titans training camp beginning at 10. And Bill Russell, who won 11 titles during his legendary career with the Boston Celtics and one of the true icons of the NBA, he died on Sunday. The Hall of Famer was 88. For our foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your Over the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, I'm Jason Martin. It's hour 3 of the program. Teresa Walker will join us next segment from the Associated Press. All Four Seasons garage doors in Nashville, making it possible. From Jeremy Fowler, Sue Robinson's comprehensive 15-page conclusion stated, though Deshaun violated the personal conduct policy, not enough evidence to justify an indefinite suspension, which is what the league wanted. That according to Fowler. So again, if the NFL wanted to act like tough guy, then they could come out and say, "Oh, that's good. We're going to push for more. We're going to push for 8."
Yeah.
Or Goodell could get real froggy and say, we're going to double it. We're going to make it 12. And then at that point in time, either side could sue, right? Like the NFLPA could sue if the NFL raised this and they wanted to keep it at 6. So then it would actually go to a court at that point in time. So it may not fully be over. But it's 6 games right now. Cousin Danny in the borough. Danny?
What's up, Danny?
Hey, fam. How we doing today? Good to talk to y'all. So the last time I called into the show, it was to talk about this very subject, and I took a very deep breath, and I kind of told a little bit about my own story to relate to these women that have been, abused and taken advantage of by this person. And I don't quite want to go there today. I think that there's another point that I want to make on this. And I've seen a lot of people in the chat talking about the NFL is going to lose these fans. And Jason, I think you combated that statement pretty well. I don't think the NFL is going to lose a single fan on this, just like they didn't lose one for the Colin Kaepernick and the kneeling for the national anthem and stuff. Football's too big. But I wanted to just kind of clarify here that the NFL has not ruled anything yet. An independent arbitrator has made a suggestion. And the initial reaction from 90% of the fan base that I've interacted with so far was not to say, man, I wonder how these poor women feel, or I wonder how this is going to reflect upon, us as a society or anything. These big questions, but it's just, I wonder who he's going to play the first game back. Is that a primetime game? What's the drama here? What's the football angle? And it's so twisted. Because we have not a he said, she said here. We're not talking about the court of public opinion. It's he said versus she said, she said, she said, she said, she said 30 times on down the line. And there is enough evidence to look at this and know that the way that this person acted, I'm not even going to call him a man, this person acted, was just like the independent arbitrator said, egregious. And the only thing as egregious as that is to think that a 6-game suspension is even close to enough to make this person pay for what they've done, show some sort of justice and some sort of acceptance that, yes, this is a problem. As a league and as a society and as a driving force in the world of sports in America, we can do frickin' better.
Well said, Danny.
Well
So
said.
6 games for Deshaun, 6 games for his former teammate, Nuke Hopkins. Deshaun, because of the Browns, only loses $333,000. He gets his full signing bonus, made $15 million yesterday. He gets $45 for the year for playing 11 games. Nuke Hopkins got the same suspension for trace amounts of PEDs. And lost millions of dollars. Millions.
Trace.
Deshaun Watson lost almost nothing. He basically, for every woman that was an accuser, that cost him 1/4 of one game of playtime, 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. That's what it was worth. That's and look, maybe the 6 comes out, they see this public reaction and they say we need to make it 8. At this point, I kind of just feel like they're going to stick with 6.
You see what players are saying. I'll put it in our chat too. But Kadera Patterson, I think Shay free tweeter, our cousin Andrew kind of sent it to us earlier too. Is Kadera Patterson says, "Free my dog."
Yeah, meaning Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. He lost the parlay, Jay, while being away from the team. And yeah, I know he knew more than the average fan and everything else. And you shouldn't bet on games because it does tear up the integrity of the game. It really does. But NFL, y'all saw the transcripts. You read what the accusers said. So much so that one of your teammates, meaning the Houston Texans, settled when nobody was actually expecting them to do anything, Jay. Like, I thought they were removed from this situation as far as Deshaun. So you mean to tell me they actually went and settled? When they actually overreached, in my opinion, to go settle. But, yeah. Just know I'll be searching some people profiles that are from the Browns fans.
Yeah.
That had the whole anti-Ben stuff too, because now the shoe's on the other foot. But people love winners, Jay.
Dave in Nolansville. Dave.
Hey, what's happening, fellas?
Hey,
I'm going to take the exact opposite tack from the previous caller, and I'm going to put my just pure objective hat on and ask some serious questions here. And try to touch on some of the subjects that you guys have hit on with this topic. Number one, I remember in class we used to learn a lot about intersectionality, and that's about how all things kind of fit together. You don't look at something in just the spotlight by itself. It fits in the totality of our culture and society right now. A few years back, there was this big thing about slut shaming and treating people who work in the quote-unquote sex industry with respect and that they're due. As I read the transcripts and looked at this entire case, it all boils down to this egregious behavior is Deshaun Watson treated these women like they worked in the sex industry, and that was demeaning to them. And it's, as we look at it from the outside, it's demeaning to us. But we've had a huge situation, as I just said, about treating people in a certain way and treating everybody with respect. As you just read, nothing was done with violence.
Okay, I can't keep it going after that. Sorry. They even said non-violent. What did you have to hit her to get knocked out for a year?
I guess he's looking at the side of, look, there's two sides to it. I hear you, but in the world of public figures, this just don't stand. I know where you're getting at. And I explained it to somebody that just asked me in a text, well, why did he get 6 games and when he did nothing? And I basically told them, well, they read the transcripts a little bit. They're basically, if we're being honest, Deshaun got these games, one, because they know what he actually did. But 2, they're basically suspending because he was being creepy. He was being creepy. Let's just be real with it. Like, and I guess that's what the caller is kind of saying. Like, somebody being creepy that doesn't actually, I don't know if it was consensual or not. I just don't. But the way it alludes to, or the way that it comes out to us, is he's a creepy guy that got away with a lot of things outside of the fact, Jay.
Yeah, again, from the Ventus article.
Oh, man.
Okay. One woman who did not sue Watson or complain to the police told The Times he was persistent in his request for sexual acts during their massage, including begging her to put her mouth on his penis. I specifically had to say, no, I can't do that, said the woman, who spoke on condition of anonymity to protect her family's privacy. And that's when I went into asking him, what is it like being famous? Like, what's going on? You're about to mess up everything. This woman didn't sue. This woman didn't put her name out there. This woman didn't want her family to know what was going on, all that kind of stuff. I don't I don't know where exactly that call was going, but I didn't want it to go any further.
I just think he was trying to say, look, we're chastising him for being a creep. I feel like that's what this was.
Personal conduct policy, you can do that.
Yep.
Let me ask you a question.
And that's what I'm saying, Shafe. Like, I'm saying all of this in, like, technically you couldn't take him to court because what he did was simply being creepy, and we don't know what their conversations were like. The NFL does. Deshaun does. These women do. But that's...
How many people keep their job when this happens?
How many keep them?
Am I out of my job if I've done this?
We probably wouldn't know, Jay.
But I'd have been out of my job. I'd be gone. If one woman accused me, I'd probably be out of my job.
Yeah, and I'll say this too, and I'm not saying this. It's because Deshaun has a whole lot of money, Jay.
But yeah.
As far as being able to fight
representation,
that. Yeah.
That's
you would
true.
have. Yeah. Yes, you would have.
Listeners, how many people are you going to be there? People are angry. Or one person's calling me lame for not letting that caller speak. I don't care if you see it the way I do, but that one was not fair to be on the air. That's not going to be on our radio station. I'm sorry. Period. And the people who keep mentioning Robert Kraft. Kraft may have acted creepy, okay? That was a situation where the workers and the people paying for that service, as egregious as I think all that is, they both knew the deal.
You're saying Deshaun caught him off guard.
Thing. Deshaun went in there with women who thought they were actually going to massage him.
Well, I have a question behind the parlor stuff, though, too. And I know it happens. It does. But why are there busts and stings at those places then? You know, as far as like sex workers being...
Because that's illegal.
But so Robert Kraft went in and did an illegal thing?
Yeah. That's why it was a sting operation. It was illegal. That was illegal.
So he could have or should have gotten suspended too then.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Okay, all right. I was just making sure you were okay on that one too by saying he should be suspended or reprimanded.
What Deshaun did is far worse.
An argument's being made that because Robert Kraft didn't receive everything means that Deshaun Watson shouldn't have. No, Deshaun Watson did, and Robert Kraft should have as well.
I agree.
That's what I'm saying.
The discussion with that is the inequality between punishment between those that are in ownership and protected than those that are players. That's a separate discussion from what Deshaun Watson did or did not do and the current ruling by this judge of a 6-game suspension.
Deshaun should have just went and found him a girlfriend or girlfriends to fulfill his fantasy. There's one guy in particular I listened to on the podcast with Ryan Clark, Channing Crowder. He admits, like, he said he and his wife go to nudist, communities. They do a lot together. He role plays where I'm like, go find you a girl or girlfriends and do this type of stuff privately. Because doing it with this many people puts us here. You know, like, you can do that, Deshaun.
And again, if you're Deshaun, you can get what you want. But the whole idea here is you get what you can't have or what might be a little bit more difficult in that situation. You can't catch
people off guard.
Yeah. And look, you're the one who said this, Moan, and we read it.
You can't catch people off guard.
He went after minority-owned business women.
He did.
He went after those business women and preyed on them specifically.
Because nobody will listen to him.
6 games. James and Willie will get to your phone calls. Teresa Walker, the Associated Press also. It's Jay Martin and Moan, 104.5 The Zone.
As leaders in disaster cleanup and restoration, the pros at ServPro are prepared for anything. Like when the relief valve on your water heater fails and it pours gallons of water into your finished basement. ServPro is prepared for it. Or when you have an electrical shortage in your office that causes extensive smoke and water damage. ServPro is prepared for that too. Or a musty odor indicates you might have a mold problem. ServPro is prepared for that. You need a lot more than help sometimes cleaning up, and that's why ServPro is your one-stop shop when disaster strikes. Not only do they have the equipment and expertise to clean up damage from fire, water, or mold, but they also offer a variety of construction services ranging from drywall patching and document drawing all the way to complete structure rebuilds. There's just one call you need to make to bring your home or business back as good as new and as soon as possible. So if you're in need of cleanup from fire, water, or any unpleasant event, ServPro is always ready to help. Call ServPro and the official downtown Nashville operators at 800 ServPro to see how we can help you get back to like it never even happened. Their number is 800 ServPro. ServPro, cleaning, restoration, construction, and franchise are independently owned and operated.
Welcome back. J. Mart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Lifted up by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Sue Robinson's review is 6 games for Deshaun Watson. Now there's an appeal process for the NFL if they want to make it more. Originally, they said we want indefinite, not less than a year, won't settle for less than 12. So now we'll see what they do. And then if they were to appeal it and Goodell's like, no, it's going to be this because it's his decision.
Yeah.
Then the NFLPA could sue. Then it could go to court, and we could still be talking about this a month and a half from right now. Mm-hmm. And I think if the NFL knows that and thinks that the PA are going to do it, they don't want this to continue to drag out.
It's that.
And the 6 may be the end of the story because of that. Because they don't want to get this tied up and be part of this with the season now. Fake football's played in 10 days.
It's gone on for too long is basically what they're saying.
That's what it certainly could be.
Or what it could be, yeah.
Maybe it isn't, but that's the possibility. Willie and other call, we'll get to you here in just a second. We're going to bring in Teresa Walker, the Associated Press. She's on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Teresa, good morning.
Good morning. Interesting, huh?
Yeah, so what are your thoughts, Teresa, before we even start to talk about the local team? This is obviously the story of the moment. Your reaction to where we stand right now?
It feels like another shoe's going to drop because, as you were just pointing out, the NFL was wanting more and Roger Goodell was wanting more. And it just feels like, what's to stop him? Guys, the NFLPA kind of put out a statement yesterday saying, we'll accept what she says. We'll accept it. We're not going to appeal. And so, as you were just saying, does Goodell come down with something more? Does he maybe make it 12, 8, 10? Whatever does he do? That's the challenge. That's the interesting thing that we see. And sorry, I'm just going through the gate here.
No, I got you. No problem. We got you.
Yeah, make sure I don't take something out with me as I go in.
Yeah.
But, that's the thing. We're going to wait and see now. We've got her decision, Sue Robinson's decision. And, talking off air with Shafe, it's like, think about the math. That's what, a quarter per lawsuit that was filed, not to mention the other, 40 other women that Jenny Ventus found with the New York Times. So this doesn't feel over to me. It feels like let's wait and see what Roger Goodell does. And yes, he's the guy that if there is an appeal, it goes to him, the same guy who hands down the punishment if there is further punishment. And that, that's something that, every time we have a big case like this, whether it was Ray Rice, way back in Pac-Man Jones' day, that it's like, wait, we've got to change this. We've got to change this. Then there's a CBA and, this never gets changed. So this is the system that they're going to live with. So does Goodell change it, add to it, accept it, or, I just don't think it doesn't feel over to me at this point.
Teresa, let's say it got to 8, because that would seem to be the trial balloon that's been floating over the last few weeks. Seemed like that was strategically leaked to see what people's reaction might be to it in advance of this. If Goodell comes back and they believed 8 was going to be acceptable to the PA all along, that they were going to take 8, would it be optically, if you're the NFL, you're like, you know what, we need to do more. We need to make this 8. And it becomes 8, and that's where both sides were kind of hoping to end anyway, ultimately, if everything was, behind closed doors and all that. Could you see that kind of being the sweet spot here, if indeed the NFL wanted to look like they were being harsher on this, even if many of us believe that's still not enough?
That's a great point, Jason, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure because, trust me, as a woman, and I've got one of my best friends is a massage therapist who lives in Gainesville, Georgia. And let's just put it this way. She has gone a complete 180. She used to be one of Deshaun Watson's biggest fans, but having been in the industry for 3 decades in several states, she once actually worked in Texas once upon a time. Listening to her, she's completely out on him right now. So, adding 2 more games to get to 8, that might make some people happy. But, this is the thing. You're never going to make everybody happy. Mm-hmm. And, 10 seems to be, double digits does seem to be a number that would be at least seem like it's penalizing Deshaun Watson. But, luckily I'm not the person handing it down. So we're going to have to just wait and see what Roger Goodell, whether or not he agrees with the person who went through this case, Sue Robinson, or not.
Teresa, you're a Hall of Famer. You've seen a lot. You've reported on a lot. You've talked to a lot of people around all sports, and you've seen these situations come up before, as you alluded to a second ago. We're talking about the player and his suspension, but the other part of this is this also. We had the Texans settle with 30 accusers, okay? We thought it was 24. They added 6 more to cover their tracks. And also on the other end of this, you got, I think as a part of this settlement, you're asking, or the Browns are saying they have to now hire your massage therapist. They have to be team approved. They got a vetting process with them because of this. Are these teams actually a part of this? Did the Texans also just throw themselves in the fire with Deshaun, or did they know about the stuff that he was doing as far as setting up rooms, knew what he was kind of doing with all of these massage therapists? Between the Browns and the Texans, where are you at on them? Because we're focused on him, and it seemed like the machine itself allowed it.
Well, there was the report of the non-disclosure agreement that just showed up in his locker, and I don't know about you, Moan, but I've never needed an NDA for somebody to help protect myself. So, that certainly raises an awful lot of question marks. And the fact that, look at the contract for this year. The Browns, and giving out the first, fully guaranteed contract, even if he is missing 6 games this year, it's going to be just a minuscule portion. I think Simon Gibbs, who went to Vanderbilt, did the math. I think it's $345,000 to miss 6 games. $345,000. The Browns, that was part of their contract. They wanted to help get this trade done so much that they put together a contract so that Deshaun Watson hardly loses any games. You're going to be without your starting quarterback potentially for at least 6 games, and it's not costing him anything. Mm-hmm. You're paying him to sit on the sideline. So, it's absolutely fair to look at these two teams and say, are you not just a part of this? Are you encouraging this? Because, again, who's getting slapped on the wrist here?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nike ran that ad years ago. We're going to get into Titans. But this kind of leads to what Jason and I were talking about. Or he asked a question a second ago, if this was me, would I still have my job? And the answer is no.
Yeah.
The funds.
None of us would.
But not even close. It would have taken one woman, Teresa, I'd be out.
But it also goes back to, even Nike said it with Tiger. Winning cures all. Is that what the NFL is hoping for? And again, he's not guilty in the court of law. But is this the methods as far as moving forward, and don't gamble with us?
We've come a long way since Ray Rice, right?
Right.
That's just the thing, and granted, I'm not comparing what Ray Rice did to what Deshaun Watson did. They're wild worlds apart. But the fact of the matter is, if you can win, if you can help me win, guys, Colin Kaepernick, if there were a team that thought he could absolutely get them to a Super Bowl, don't you think he would have been signed by now? Mm-hmm. So that's the thing. If you can help me win, it's a bottom-line business. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. And in the end, that's what counts the most.
Yeah, it is.
He lost $350,000 basically of $250 million guaranteed. And as you talk about slap on the wrist, Teresa, I think that the most interesting thing there is, if you're an NFL team, if you're willing to hold your nose, you can just sign anybody. As long as they're good enough, you can find a way. What's it going to take? Like I say, if Deshaun Watson had been naked on that table in the happy baby pose, holding his phone on a FanDuel app, he'd be out for a year. And we'd know that because he'd have been gambling. But because he wasn't holding his phone at the time, and because apparently it was non-violent, which is a broad way to describe the conduct in this case, somehow we end up at 6 games, at least for right now. I do wonder what the NFL is going to do. They've got 3 days, but the other thing is, gosh, we're playing fake football. Titans are playing the Ravens. We're hosting our first For the Fam event on the 11th, Teresa. They want this behind them. Makes me wonder if they'll just accept the 6 just so that so people can start talking about football. But at this point, if you're the Browns, you win, right? You might look terrible in public opinion, but you win in this case.
It's an absolute win. And I was just looking on Twitter. Judy Batista says that Sue Robinson on this decision, she considered 5 cases. 5 cases is what she came up with 6 games. And it's like, so when you hear that, does 6 games seem like it's a good thing? Now, does the league want to get on past this? Yes. And, here's what we're going to have to just wait and see. Whatever the number ends up being, when he's on the field, when he starts throwing touchdowns and winning games for the Browns, who's in the stands? Are they selling tickets? Is it full? And, how many people are out there? How many women are out there? I'm very curious to see how many women are, wearing their Browns jerseys this season. But, guys, winning cures everything. And when he starts throwing touchdowns, running for touchdowns, and starts leading the Browns to wins, whenever that is, then, it's amazing how people are willing to give second chances when they see somebody, winning cures everything.
Yeah. So the Titans are hopefully going to be winning. And there's no segue, but we'll ask you a couple questions on the way out. What are you seeing so far, Teresa? A lot of good video out there. Traylon Burks, kind of mossing Caleb Farley a little bit. Or that was Robert Woods that did that. Traylon Burks catching passes out here.
On Roger McCreary.
There's a lot to potentially like on the hype reel that is the Titans training camp tweets.
Guys, the guy who's jumping off the sheet at me, or the field rather, Robert Woods. Yes, Traylon Burks on Wednesday, seeing him, finish drills, looking different. He says he lost 5 to 6 pounds. He looks leaner.
Mm-hmm.
He's starting to look like the guy. It's like, okay, that's why they took him with the 18th pick. Robert Woods, though, torn ACL November 12th.
Yeah.
And one of the highlights on Saturday is he's going up for a ball against Caleb Farley, his ACL brother workout partner, and he's up and comes down on that left leg with the catch, with the ball. That guy, every day that goes by, I'm seeing more and more why the Titans traded for him. And let's just put it this way. He is so much more impressive than what I ever saw out of Julio Jones combined the entire year at this point. And it's Monday, the start of the second week of camp. There you go.
Teresa, you'll be out there today, I'm guessing, and it's first day of pads. How many fights do you expect? Over?
Nate Davis.
Nate's been spicy. 4. Are we above that or below that as far as camp fights first day in pads?
Below that.
Okay.
Because we had a little teeny shove and scuffle the other day, Nate Davis, Jeffrey Simmons. But the cloud cover is still out. It looks like it'll be a little bit cooler day. Get back to me tomorrow when the heat and the sun are on. But I'll be honest, there hasn't. Mike Vrabel sets a pretty strong tone. There's not that many fights out here, period, under Vrabel. And most coaches, they don't want you fighting. You don't want to get hurt over something silly.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's a business. You got you spend a week ramping up for the pads. I'm really curious to see just how spicy everything is today.
No doubt about it. One position that I'm very curious about today is Aaron Brewer versus those big D tackles. Now, I know he has a lot of fighting grit in him, Teresa, but that's one I'm banking on really grabbing a face mask and going after people today, because he's got to set a tone, because they will try to push him back and bully him. How have you kind of looked at him the first few days of camp, considering that's a position that we really got to keep our eye on?
Oh, absolutely. He's trying to win one of the 2 jobs that are open on the offensive line. He's the guy that Vrabel said is tougher than a $2 steak. And Aaron Brewer, he's an undersized guy. He has been his entire career, but he's very athletic, and he's hoping to use that to his advantage to help him win this job. But you're absolutely right. Going up against these guys, being there at left guard, he's going to see some Jeff Simmons every now and then.
Right.
So I'm going to be watching him very carefully, because, they did sign Jamarco Jones, a guy who's got a little bit more size on him to maybe fill that spot too. So, this is where the offensive line competition gets real.
Do we put to bed soon enough Jeffrey Simmons' contract situation? That's kind of what I'm looking at. And, of course, our guy AJ had a tweet last night about that. But do we get that, sooner than later?
I still think sooner than later, because later the price tag will be much, much higher. So, Jeffrey Simmons has done everything the Titans could ask. He was here for the start of camp. He's been on the field. He's been not talking contract. He's just working to get better. I mean, it's the perfect. It's exactly what the Titans ask. And for the tweet that AJ sent yesterday, he can spin this all he wants. And yes, granted, I haven't had a chance to talk to him or his agent, but everybody I talked to in Tennessee, he's the guy who cut off communication with his position coach. The rest of the Titans said he wouldn't come in and then ask to be traded. So when you ask to be traded and then you get traded, that kind of is your fault, not the team's fault. In my, just from simple basic math.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Teresa. We appreciate it. I know we got heavy there early, but obviously that happened, and you were going to comment on it, so we appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Indeed. That's Teresa Walker. Whew. Deshaun, 6 games. I can't believe this Rossini tweet.
You see that Rossini tweet?
I mean, you put it there, so now I have seen it. I actually can't believe this. Like, here's what Rossini tweeted as we go to the break. You know what? I want to get to Willie's call, too. I know we're late, and it doesn't matter. I spoke to sources close to Deshaun Watson, who believe the 6-game suspension, quote, is too much. They stand by the claim he did nothing wrong. However, they do accept this was a fair process with a neutral party hearing the case and making the decision. Just stop talking. If you got 6 games, just shut up and recede like Homer Simpson into the bushes.
You ain't even got
because you've got a ski mask on at this point in time. If you get away with this,
let it go.
I mean, legitimately. Willie in Clarksville. Willie, what's up?
What's up, Willie?
Hey, guys. Appreciate your all's show, your all's coverage of stuff like this Deshaun Watson thing. I know y'all got to go to break, so I'll try to be quick. My thoughts are, I am glad that you guys kind of broke down and went into detail before this last break about what exactly it is, broke down exactly what it is Deshaun Watson is losing out of all of this in terms of punishment. It's important to know that, because those of us who are sons, daughters, friends, husbands, wives, mothers, fathers of people who have experienced sexual violence, sexual violation like this, know that what people like Deshaun Watson take away from those women is immeasurable in terms of their work. I don't know how they can keep going on in the same career without this somehow negatively affecting them just going to work to provide for themselves and their families. They have to live with what Deshaun Watson put them through.
Yeah.
It affects their relationships with people, most of the people closest to them, in fact. It will forever stay with them. And I think y'all are exactly right what you said even earlier in the show. This is the NFL saying, again, to women, we don't care about you. My mom is a lifelong NFL fan. I grew up on Sundays sitting next to my mom on the couch watching Eddie George, Steve Air McNair, her hollering. She's a Titans fan, and this is something that she loves, an organization that she devotes an entire day of her week to, telling her, if this had happened to you, we wouldn't care. We wouldn't do anything to the guy that did it to you. We may take a couple bucks from him, but otherwise, like y'all have said, when he starts winning again, it don't matter anymore. Sorry, thanks for your money, thanks for your attention, and that's atrocious. It's atrocious to me. So, thank you all. I'll let you go.
Appreciate it, Willie.
615-737-1045. If you were on hold and didn't wait through the conversation with Teresa, pretty much wide open for the rest of the show. If you want to chat, obviously it's the story of the day. Deshaun Watson, 6 games. That's from Sue Robinson. That's not the NFL decision, so the NFL can appeal that within 3 days. But that's where we stand right now with Deshaun Watson, who will be at practice today, but I'll bet you he's not going to field questions. It's Jay Martin and Mo, 104.5 The Zone.
Is the summertime heat causing you to lose your cool? Well, don't let a broken down or older HVAC unit keep you from being comfortable in your own home. And it's Ramon Foster. I have the heating and cooling company that can take care of all of your HVAC needs, and they are Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer free service calls with their repairs, plus low monthly payments on those repairs. And if you do need a new unit, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling offers 60 months no interest financing. Plus, they can provide the financing for qualifying purchases and free estimates on replacement units. And they back their work with 10-year parts and labor warranties. So when the summer is at its hottest, they are at their best. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, available anytime at springhillac.com.
Join 104.5 The Zone for our 2022 Summer Golf Classic coming up Monday, August 29th at Greystone Golf Club. 2022 Summer Golf Classic will be a day accompanied by great food, cocktails, prizes. Tickets on sale now, 1045thezone.com.
Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. So the actual language in the CBA for what the NFL could do involves this. The NFL could choose taking this decision from Sue Robinson. They can overturn, reduce, modify, or increase the discipline previously issued. That's from the CBA. So there's 3 days now, or a 3-day process where they can make that decision. If they choose to raise it, NFLPA could sue, or maybe it goes to 8 and everybody stays quiet. I don't know. Other thing I would say is this. Whew, man, it's a good thing Deshaun allegedly did this to women and not dogs.
Right.
I mean, Michael Vick went to jail.
Right.
And was indefinitely suspended after the fact.
And yeah, I know money just went over state lines and the finances of it all, but money was exchanged in this situation.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. So mandated, right? The Browns have to pick the therapist. But he didn't do anything wrong because you didn't find anything, even though you said it was egregious contact. Every one of those massage therapists better be a male.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the first one to say that. I saw a few people in the chat say it. Absolutely right. Make that the most business arrangement ever. Massages ain't going to be fun anymore, Deshaun.
Let's just be real, though.
Let me introduce to you Tyler. He's going to be giving you your massage today.
Deebo.
Just sit there real quietly, Deshaun. Get the calves worked on, whatever it is that you need to play football. But there should not be a woman in that room.
No.
Period.
And will not, man. Like you said, Jay, thank goodness it wasn't dogs or anything else like that. And my point that you brought up again, Jay, that I appreciate you bringing it up. The target of his audience that he was going after were small business owner, black minority women. To me, Deshaun, there's a lot around that conversation just in general. The disadvantages that women have and also the disadvantage of minority women have. And you chose that group to attack. You chose any group to attack. Let's say that. I want to, just cover the whole spectrum of that one. But you knew that many people weren't going to listen or they find a way to dismiss it. And this is what's happening right now. True, you wasn't found guilty in the court of law. You just weren't. But it sucks for those people that, were trying to help themselves by helping you with something that they thought you needed, and you just blindsided them literally with yourself. And that sucks. You know what I'm saying? So y'all say what you want to about him and how he went about this. He wasn't guilty. NFL saw something.
He didn't go to trial.
True, there wasn't a lot of evidence. It was he versus she in these situations. But there was a whole lot of she's, baby, that you just got to kind of say to yourself, yeah, I see you. You got away with one.
If you're talking about your innocence and that your name's going to be cleared, which is the language that Deshaun Watson used, you sue Sports Illustrated and Jenny Ventures.
If that's the route.
You knew that wasn't going to happen.
That's what you do. But they didn't. And you know how much they've said about that article that was published?
What's that?
Less than nothing.
That's right. They haven't pushed back against 66 women being used over a 2-year span or whatever it was, whatever just stupid number it was in terms of how many different massage therapists. None of that stuff did they push back against. None of it. And his camp telling Diana Rossini,
it's too much.
It's too much. Shut up. Pipe down.
Highway robbery, baby.
Yeah, absolutely right. 615-737-1045. Your take. As long as it doesn't use language we really don't want to use on the air and things like that, you can take it wherever you want to take it respectfully. Fourth hour of the show's wide open. Bill, we lead off with your phone call from Madison. When we come back, it's Jay Martin and Ramon, 1045 The Zone.
9:01, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson will serve a 6-game suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy following accusations of sexual misconduct. However, Commissioner Roger Goodell does have final authority over the ruling that was made by the independent arbiter in this case, Judge Sue L. Robinson. Deebo Samuel agreed to a 3-year contract extension with the San Francisco 49ers, the deal worth a maximum value of $73.5 million over the 3 years and includes just over $58 million in guarantees. Titans took yesterday off. They will return to the St. Thomas Sports Park practice fields this morning, and they can begin practicing in pads. Practice set to begin at approximately 9:30. The Buck Rising Show will be live from Titans training camp beginning at 10. At tight end, Tommy Hudson has been removed from the PUP list, and he is eligible to practice today. And Bill Russell, who won 11 titles during his legendary career with the Boston Celtics, died on Sunday. The Hall of Famer was 88 years old. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on over the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? 4th hour. Hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio is upon you. It's upon us. We're here because of all 4 Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer. I'm Jason Martin at JMart and Ramon on Twitter. Josina Anderson. While Sue Robinson's 6-game suspension falls notably short of the indefinite suspension of at least a year the NFL was seeking, Deshaun Watson's counsel and reps are displeased with the ruling and maintain it should have been 0 games. So now that's out here. I guess that's what you say, even if you're jumping for joy over 6. You represent it still should have been 0. My guy didn't do anything wrong. I mean, you can't admit to it doing anything wrong at that point in time. So
I had a homeboy of mine saying the same thing. It's like, I'm fighting for 0. I'm like,
yeah,
on this one,
right. Right.
You just let this go and hopefully it dies out.
So the CBA and the way that everything was set up was NFL used to make all these rulings themselves. So now they have this judge who is impartial, agreed on by both sides, but her ruling doesn't mean anything. Her ruling is basically just a suggestion. The league can now just choose to do what it's always done, which is make the decision on their own. If they were pushing for a year and they wanted an indefinite suspension of a year, then have the sack to do that. Yeah. And then let the NFLPA file their appeal and go do whatever it is that you got to do. If you don't, it's because you don't think that it's good for your league to have this back out there for the next few months. It's not about the decision anymore. It's about moving on to the season because that's the important thing at this point. If you wanted a year, you can make it a year. You can make it a year right now, period.
Does Goodell want to, Jay?
I don't know.
I don't think he does.
I know what the NFL said.
Yeah.
But I know what I would say if I were the NFL too. But behind closed doors from a business perspective, I want all the great quarterbacks I can have in my league playing as soon as possible. So we want a year.
Yeah.
But she went with 6 games, and you know what? She's impartial, and we agreed upon it, so we're going to stick at 6.
I can't understand. I don't see a world in which he does give him a whole year. I just don't. Because they championed Deshaun, this entire offense, as far as just, his image has been across NFL.com, NFL Network. He's been on ESPN. He's done a lot of these things aside from the bad press that he's gotten. Roger Goodell stepping in and giving double-digit suspension or double-digit time. I'll say this. He works for the owners. And although I don't think many of them were happy at the contract that he got, but it also set the stage for quarterbacks behind him. Kyler Murray also got $230.5, but he didn't get fully guaranteed. The other point we were talking about on the break was this, Jay. The Browns, their dealings with Deshaun.
Gross.
The Texans, and in hindsight, how they dealt with Deshaun. Business is crude. I've kind of said this a lot, man. You meet a successful person, very successful person that worked for it, they probably did some dirt. They probably got a lot of crud underneath their fingernails. You stepped on a few necks. Probably broke a few rules or two. That's kind of the way that's the way I'm looking at the Texans and also the Browns right now a little bit too. That 230 basically did what, Jay? It financed his legal team.
Financed everything.
It gave him, and he had money before then. The Texans had already given it to him. But in this situation, they set up a deal that they knew something was coming down the line towards the shop.
They wanted to make sure it didn't hit him in the pocketbook at all.
Or that they could sign him. What is the price for a franchise quarterback, dog? The one that has as much talent as Deshaun Watson.
The souls of an organization. And the other thing, I will say this about the Texans, because we don't talk enough about the Texans, okay? If Deshaun Watson had not asked to be traded, if he had not wanted out, if he had not become discontented and I'll sit out and all of that stuff that happened, I still think there's a good chance we don't know almost any of this.
Well, because they're in Houston, or their team would have got ahead of this. He was working as an independent, basically. Deshaun was.
Yeah, I mean, and he was persona non grata with the organization at that point.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean what happened is any better, worse, anything else. It's egregious and terrible, no matter how you want to phrase it. But I think it does speak to the fact that they will protect you as long as when you're with us, you're with us. When you're against us, don't be against us. It's kind of part of this. Like the Browns, disgusting. Just gross on every level. That deal is, first off, they didn't have to guarantee all his money. Second off, to set it up to where it's only going to cost him $300,000, basically $350,000.
$350K
off of his salary. He got $15 million yesterday, folks, and because he'll play 11 games, at least as of right now, he's going to make $46 million this season. Fully guaranteed. Remember this. What they did showed you what the value of a franchise quarterback is.
Yeah, buddy.
Limitless is the answer, which is why all of this conversation about Lamar Jackson, it doesn't matter. We don't need to debate what he's going to get. He's going to get all the money, all of it, whether it's today or next year or next month, he's going to get all of it.
Because when they rely on you the way they do Lamar, and honestly, the way Arizona relies on Kyler at this point, then you kind of get what you want out of this. Like, let's just be real about it. And it's not about the money. It is the optics when it comes down to Deshaun, because what happened about maybe 2 weeks to a month before he actually signed with the Browns? What was the report from his camp? Cleveland, you're out of it.
Yep. Like a week and a half before, you found out the Browns were out of this situation. It was between the Falcons and the Saints, it looked like. And then, he took a fully guaranteed deal to the Browns.
I always want to go to the Browns.
They literally called his people. Well, not literally, but basically, they called his people and were like, what's it going to take, man? What's it going to take to get you into this fiat today?
Yeah. And I see a comment in the chat. So I hate it for the other Browns players. And like I told you before, we were in this situation before. But I'll say this, at the time, the team was stronger than everything that had come out about it. We didn't have to say much about it because that was a one-off situation. The Deshaun situation is the same thing, too. And one thing that really helped us out was we actually won, too, Jay. You know, I think we went 3-1 while Ben was out. Like, we were winning. The way we were supposed to lose games early on in the season didn't happen. So the story of him coming back didn't actually happen until the Monday he showed up to work. So if Cleveland goes through this 6-game skid, or if Roger Goodell adds 2 more games to it because he can, and Cleveland is below 500, the talk and questions is going to be to his teammates. Man, what are y'all going to do with Deshaun? Are you waiting for him to come back and save your season? What is the season looking like? Like, it's going to be everything about Deshaun and not about his team, not about the current team. Cleveland Browns, the team, has to go in. They have to go in. They got to start the season 2-0, 3-0, whatever the case is going to be, to kind of minimize the noise around Deshaun Watson. Because it's not their fault that he's in that locker room. It's not their fault that he has these allegations against him. It's not their fault that he is away from the team. It's just not. It's ownership that kind of brought him in. It's the price that they actually paid him to be a part of this team. And I'll say this also. It's the idea that he is a very talented player. And everybody's looking to see what he can do for them, because what's the long-standing joke when it comes down to the Cleveland Browns? You put on the quarterback jersey starting with Couch.
Yep.
And from Couch all the way down, are we near 40? I don't know if it's
close.
I'm exaggerating, but
Yeah, no, not too much.
They have had teams, Jay, for a long time that have competed well. And the one thing that we knew about I was about to call them Jacksonville Jaguars. One thing we knew about the Cleveland Browns was their quarterback is going to find a way to mess this up. You can run the ball all you want to, but we're going to get you because we got a guy that can spin the ball through the air and you don't. And now they got Deshaun. What's the price of a franchise quarterback?
Yeah, one that has the capabilities of Deshaun in terms of yards, touchdowns, all of those things. If you can play at that position,
yep,
they will find a way.
Mm-hmm.
Bill in Madison. Bill, what's up?
What's up, Bill?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sir.
I'm calling in. This is a very interesting subject to me. I don't come down on either side now. Honestly, I feel as if I'm not informed enough to be able to make a conclusion. But curious to know, and maybe you guys can know, maybe Ramon, having been a professional football player, he could illuminate my ignorance a little bit, or somebody who's listening might call in. Obviously, we're at a really interesting time in our country where there's this zeitgeist which sort of compels us to believe the accusers, and I'm not saying I don't agree with that. And then, of course, on the other hand, we have due process of law, and I'm curious to know if you guys know, or maybe somebody else could call in and say what was the proof in front of the arbitrator. And I ask that because if it were merely the civil complaints that have been filed, and to my knowledge, none of these cases have gone to trial, so there's not going to be a whole lot of testimony on the record for them to look at. It would be primarily the complaints themselves. And I've worked in the legal profession, and I know anybody can say anything in a complaint. In a lawsuit, I'm not saying what they said is not true. There's certainly a whole lot of fire, and that sort of gives you reason to be skeptical. But does anybody know what sort of proof did this independent arbitrator herself, a former federal judge, did she hear testimony from witnesses? Do we know this? And the reason I ask is interesting legal question to me. If the credibility of witnesses at the trial level, I file for divorce and I have a divorce trial, and there's testimony, and then I appeal that to the circuit court or Supreme Court or whatever. Generally, a reviewing court does not question the credibility of witnesses when those witnesses have, if that credibility is deemed sufficient by the lower court, in this case, the arbitrator. So if it is appealed and the suspension is, upheld or even increased, to my mind, that is an indication. I know this is not a normal court proceeding, and the rules of civil procedure and things of that nature are probably not at play, but in as much as they are, if Goodell decides to uphold it or even increase it, that would go a long ways, to my mind, to buttress the credibility of these ladies' claims. And like I said before, being pretty ignorant about the case, but following it in a very, amateur fashion.
Thanks, Bill. I got to cut you off just because we're going a little bit long. No, I don't think they spoke to anybody. There were 5 cases the NFL handed to her to use. And it became 4 because I think one of those ended up being dropped or moved out because of settlement. So she only took into account evidence from 4 cases in the end, 4 of the women. And I don't think she spoke to any of them, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check that, but I don't think so. 615-737-1045. More after the break. Jay Martin, Ramon, 1045 The Zone. Welcome back. Jay Martin, Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. So Deshaun, if he were to be back for the Ravens game, which is what it is as it is now, and Roger Goodell, by the way, is the one that hears the appeals if the NFL appeals. So again, he's a judge, jury, and executioner on this. If he wants to stick at 6, then he can take this ruling. But if he wants it to be more, he can just say it's going to be more.
You want me to read out Breer's?
Real quick, but
situation?
before that, real fast, it would be back in October. Remember back in the day, NFL used to do the breast cancer thing and everybody's wearing pink across the NFL. Same month that he would be coming back.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing they've moved on to Crucial Catch. They moved on to cancer awareness, because imagine him being out there with a bunch of things supporting women in Breast Cancer Awareness Month on the day that he comes back in week 7. So, yeah, in short, what did Albert Breer say?
I just put it in our group chat if you wanted to read it out loud. So I'll get it. Albert Breer tweeted out at 8:23 this morning. It's a 5-part tweet. So it says this. Judge Sue L. Robinson's decision wasn't based on the 24 lawsuits. It was based on 5 cases brought by the NFL. In parentheses, 4 of the 5 were plaintiffs. So, yes, there are a lot more accusations against Watson, but Robinson's decision is based on the 5 cases the NFL presented her with. The NFL and the NFLPA negotiated this process in 2020, and the league agreed to it in part because of some owners, after so many missteps in discipline over the last decade, wanted the NFL to take a step back in that arena and, in essence, outsource some of it. So Roger Goodell and the NFL's decision here is complicated. Do they want to undermine the process they just established? Do they want to go back to federal court with a player? If the NFL appeals and Goodell overturns, it could actually lead to Watson playing in the opener. If Watson were to file a lawsuit, the union and his camp would likely seek a TRO to put a stay on the suspension. If they got one, he'd play while the case was in court. Last part of it. So the NFL now has 3 days to appeal. I'd imagine they'll be paying close attention to public reaction over that time. And if they do appeal, it has to be based on Robinson's process. The facts of the cases, remember, it's 5 cases presented, are already established.
And with all that, Goodell could just say he's out for a year if he wants to. And so the undermining of the process, this might just be, we probably shouldn't have done that. It's almost like they're bringing in somebody to advise them, and then they can take that. They'll be like, or we'll take that under advisement. He's out 8 games. We'll take that under advisement. He's out 10 games. All of that kind of stuff. But, of course, they have to weigh what's going to get him into court and what's not. Can 8 keep the NFLPA from doing anything? Or if they raise it, does that immediately trigger that? So that's the thing.
All I read from that is Deshaun got them in a vice grip.
I mean,
they dropped the ball. I don't want to say they dropped the ball, but they this loss of power when they wanted a fair process, because you had guys that was getting big hits in the game, like James Harrison. I remember his situation where they were finding him $150,000 a hit, or they threatened to suspend him. So they went over and beyond by being judge, jury, and executioner. Now they're presented with a real world situation in which they went and got an outside person to actually break this down. The NFL rules aren't the same as general population, isn't the same as general public. Roger Goodell would have probably taken this to 12 games had it just been his situation. But because of him being able to, or them not being able to sign off on this or have to accept what the federal judge said, now they're ticked off because they really feel like you got over on us. And that's the way I'm taking it, Jay.
Well, yeah, perhaps. I mean, you got 3 days, and they're going to watch public opinion. They're going to watch social media, and they're going to determine, can we get away with this, or do we need to add to it? That's kind of where I am on it.
Which is why they're steering their main national guys, too.
A lot of them seem to be parroting the same information right now. Most all of them are. But the only thing I could see is it maybe going to 8 because they already threw that trial balloon out there. And maybe the PA in some back channel has kind of been like, we'll accept 8. I don't know. Because it makes it look like the NFL. Right, that's what I'm saying. It looks like it would then appear like, the NFL stepped up when they really didn't. It would give off that impression if you wanted to push that. Yeah, exactly right. That's the same thing as we're not going to settle for less than 12. We want an indefinite suspension of at least a year. They said that months ago.
They did.
But they had this woman in the role, Sue Robinson, who has a great resume, except that it doesn't include anything like this kind of case. This is the first thing that she's ruled on since the CBA, the first kind of situation she's been a part of. And she comes back with this number. Now they can easily up it to a number that's still less than where most people will be comfortable, but it'll feel like the NFL did something.
Right.
And that's the most NFL thing imaginable if they were to come back and do that. That's something. Cousin P's on the line. P, what's up?
Hey, guys. What's going on, man? What a crazy day, right?
It is.
So the way I'm looking at this thing, first of all, a big corporation, a big enterprise like the NFL has literally went over every possible scenario, every possible decision that could possibly happen, and has already got a game plan ready to go. So I do believe that they know exactly what they want to do for this particular situation that came out with the decision today. The next thing is, for me, okay, without really saying a lot about the situation itself, this is a huge legacy-defining moment for not only Roger Goodell. I mean, this is what he could possibly be remembered by, is this incident right now. How many times can we think of something such a large scandal within the NFL under Roger Goodell's tenure? You know, so I believe that this is something that could be a legacy-defining moment for him, but also a legacy-defining moment for the NFL. So, yeah, they're watching closely. They might have to bite the bullet, and they might have to say, look, like you said, we tried. But they have to give the maximum penalty on this thing. They got to. This is
yes.
I'm dumbfounded by the decision, and, you know, it's blowing my mind. So I'll hang up and listen. I want to kind of get that to you and tell me what y'all think, man. Y'all have a good rest of y'all.
Look, man, amen, P, on virtually everything that just came out of your mouth. And I would, again, say, what does it say that part of this woman's ruling was that the Browns have to hire all your massage therapists going forward? Why would that be a thing that needed to be included?
Yeah.
If Deshaun Watson were some innocent dude or this is something that required such a light punishment? Because that's what this is. To say that and to put that language in your 15-page opinion tells you all you need to know about what Sue Robinson thinks Deshaun Watson did. That's where I've got the problem.
Yeah.
Like, well, wait, why 6 games? Why does it rise up to 6 games, and why can't he hire his own massage therapist? What's the issue there? What's the potential pitfall if he didn't do anything worthy of a legit suspension in this case? Because 6 games feels so it's lower than everybody was predicting. Everybody, even Florio and those guys were saying 8 for the last few weeks, and so I started to think maybe it's going to be 8.
Yeah.
And 8's almost half a season. It's the old half a season, a 16-game season. It's half of one season. Maybe that's enough to at least, and I don't know, it still didn't feel enough to me. But hearing 6, I'm thinking to myself, 6 and then saying egregious conduct, violated the personal conduct policy, but it was nonviolent. Okay, so if he choked her, then maybe that would have been one. If he had choked one of them, maybe that would have been enough. But more than anything, if he can't hire his own massage therapist, well, why the heck not?
Yeah.
I thought he didn't do anything wrong.
Me either. It's like, why you got to cover for him now? Me personally, I remember going back to me even predicting what these guys said 17-24. That's where I was.
I was with you.
Because the optics of it all said the NFL is going to drop the hammer on this one. You can't have this type of stuff going on. And the fact that he started settling and then the Texans jump out and start settling cases, then I'm like, okay, something's up, maybe 12. And then they start throwing out 8 last week, and I'm like, they're fishing. You knew they were fishing. I knew they were fishing to see what was going to be the public reaction, because this is the thing behind it. The league grows as we consume it. That's what they will not drop. They can't afford for us not to consume the NFL, because the NFL, yes, we say it's a worldwide sport, and it is somewhat, but it's not soccer.
No, it's not soccer.
It's not baseball. It's not basketball. The NFL is big here in America, and we consume it at a high rate, okay? And with that being said, to me, this is my opinion, I don't think they can afford to blackball one of their 32, which is why they're taking this route right now. Right, wrong, or indifferent. They will not blackball. And I've told you this. They've been a trash team as far as wins and losses for a very long time. But the Browns fan base, they support. They got to be, as far as revenue being paid out. I know they sit low as far as their valuation, Jay, but their fan base, if you strike a match under them and give them a quarterback like Deshaun Watson, you'll never hear the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to be loud and rambunctious and support all of those things. So this is an interesting take from the NFL where they will always protect their own. So much so they give a guy a year for betting on a game when that wasn't even a fraction of his contract. But they took his entire contract away this year as far as Calvin Ridley goes.
So, other thing the NFL might want to consider doing, assuming if they aren't going to appeal, and I still hope that they do, obviously, but let's say they don't, right?
Yeah.
You might want to ban all signs from being brought to games this fall. Like the WWE used to do, confiscate signs that they didn't like, that they didn't want on TV, that reflected other companies, or didn't parrot, this guy's a babyface, this guy's a heel. We don't want you looking like you're cheering the bad guy. We want to make sure that everybody looks like they're doing exactly what Vince wanted them to. So we're going to take the signs. You got to take the signs. Let me tell you something else. You know what happens on Halloween?
What? Oh.
Halloween would be, let's see, 5, 6. If you miss 6 games, right? Panthers, Jets, Steelers, Falcons, Chargers, Patriots. Comes back against the Ravens on the 23rd. On the 31st at 7:15 p.m., I believe that is Monday Night Football, the Bengals go to Cleveland to play the Browns.
Wowzers.
What do you think the Halloween costumes are going to be on national television on Monday Night Football Week 8?
Massage tables.
Think about just stop and think about football, and it's an AFC North rivalry, and they're both fan bases you hate, Moan.
Yeah, they are.
Cincinnati fans
going
to Cleveland. You might want to keep the shots real tight on the field that night. Like, we don't need cutaways, nothing. Like, be real careful that evening.
Yep. Oh. I've already searched the Browns fans page that's pretty much excited about the Deshaun ruling. But I searched Ben under their name. They trashed him.
Of course they did.
And now they're championing Deshaun. I'm like, hey, pot, meat kettle. That's all I say. It's just, I keep receipts every once in a while. I'll pull them out every once in a while. This is hilarious.
John Wayne on line 1. John Wayne, go ahead.
What's up?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good morning.
Man, I don't know if y'all have already said this, but with this Sue Robinson girl, if y'all remember with Ray Rice, you know, Goodell comes out and he makes his decision, and then everybody freaks out when the video comes out. Sue gives Goodell the ability to judge what the public's going to say, and then he can come in and make a decision based off what she said.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that's kind of – he's kind of put himself in a position to never have to go through the Ray Rice situation again.
Right.
He gets to see what everybody's going to say, and then he gets to make a decision based off that.
That's so true.
Like it or not, it's a smart move from his perspective.
That's so true.
We mentioned that. Like, the trial balloon of 8 games is floated out there. Now you get this, but Goodell's the one that ultimately gets to make a decision here. Now, it could land him in court with the NFLPA, but he's the guy, and it's set up for him to have that power. So that's why I mentioned they're going to be sitting there, Moan, over the next 2 days or right now today. What's the reaction? Are people going to accept this? If not, we better bounce it to 8. 8 is still not what they want, allegedly, and it's not what most of the public wants.
Yeah.
But the Browns were bracing. Remember, that's the word that was used. The Browns were bracing for an 8-game suspension for Deshaun. Then it comes down at 6.
Yeah.
So what if it gets back to 8? And then it's like, oh, but the NFL added to it because they care about women. We care about women. 6 is, I understand why, because of her precedent. We need to add more to make sure that this is taken seriously when, in effect, it's a dog and pony show that's irreflective of what actually happened.
NFL needs a scandal. Tom Center just went down. Tom need to go ahead and retire again. That's all they need a distraction at this point to get us away from these 6 games, Jay. Like, Tom Brady needs to retire again. Like, something crazy has to happen for the NFL so he can just be like, all right, we'll accept it and move on. Because you're right. The right thing to say is to tack on 2 more. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 to 4 more. Like, that's where they're at. But they can't afford to because everybody's talking about it. Unless the networks decide to just, all right, whatever. We're not really going to discuss this as much. First day in pads. We'll see what fights happen. We'll see who does what. Like, it's still dead period as far as the NFL is concerned.
Yeah.
You know?
Even though they branded their training camp Saturday, cross network as back together Saturday. Yeah. Tommy Hudson, by the way, passed his physical, removed from the PUP list. So that's good news on a Monday for the Titans, who will be in pads for
Elijah
the first time
Molden
today.
not out on the field as of right now.
Let's go to J-Box in Nashville. J-Box, what's up?
What's good with y'all, man?
Doing all right?
Good. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, this is what I want to say. Honestly, it might come as bias as being a guy, but at the same time, I am a licensed massage therapist. So with that being said, as a licensed massage therapist, I run the show. It doesn't matter who is getting the massage. As you see in the Robert Kraft thing, it didn't take 2 weeks. It didn't take a whole month. It was right then and there. When he did something wrong, the massage therapist said, oh, no. That's not cool. We're not going to do this. So for 23 women, and to understand that the massage therapist groups, in any city, we have Facebook, we have groups and stuff like that. I remember being in one group, they put this number out. It's like, hey, don't get massages from this man because he asked for this, he asked for that.
Wow.
Especially being a woman, when a man does something that you don't like, it's right then and there. For 23 women, it's that is fishy in itself. The person who is paying for the massage don't run anything. The person giving the massage, this is your domain. This is your profession. How are you going to let someone just do anything and you don't say nothing right then and there? I understand for the women, all that stuff right there, and I really do. But you got to understand, it is hard to be a female massage therapist. And to think that 23 women, for a person like Deshaun Watson, who is a figure, who is a person who has money, no one said anything until he wants to leave, and then it's come 1, 2, 3, 4, 23, and then all of a sudden they settling. There's something else going on. So I understand how everybody feels, but you have to understand, as a professional, you do the right thing right then and there. And it doesn't take 23 women and a massage therapist crew. I don't care if it's 500 massage therapists in the Houston area. And the one reason why I think she said the Browns have a control, because massage must have been, I guess, something like, as far as like helping him get back to the game and, stuff like that. So they're in charge of that. You understand what I'm saying? I do understand all the ramifications of this, but as a professional massage therapist, and then when it comes down to figures with money.
I'll say this real quick, too. I'm not going to interrupt. My point about this is, and you can keep them real quick, is for those women that he targeted and picked out, Jay refreshed my memory on this. He chose minority women.
Yeah, he preyed on
Asian, African
American.
I'll
go find actually what Ventus wrote as opposed to just trying to put it out there, but that was absolutely a thing.
Who was on? What's his Jay?
His name's J-Box. I've got him on hold. I haven't.
So J-Box, so those women trying to advance their careers, maybe they didn't have the voice that you did because of where they come from and them being minority business owners too.
Is it possible they weren't part of Facebook groups and all this other kind of stuff also? Because you got to remember it. What you're saying, J-Box, not intentionally is incorrect, but you have to remember less than 15% of the country is on social media. Yeah. You think it's everybody, but it's not. The vast majority of people have no accounts, don't want any accounts, or living their lives out here. So
J-Box, so I want to get your opinion on who he picked.
All right, J-Box, go ahead.
The thing about it, are they okay? There's a thing about Asian therapists. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, I remember.
But he went after African Americans one also.
Yeah, I understand. And this one African American young lady went on some type of talk show podcast. and talk about
Brian
the
Gumbel.
actual session, which is something you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to talk about a session. You know what I'm saying? I kind of feel like it's a lot going on because some people can say they're massage therapists and do massage therapist things, but not actual massage therapists. And then you think about, he probably did pick on Asian because when you think about Asians, a lot of these Asians are not even licensed. And they do all kind of things at Asian places. You look online and look at the people who are being audited online through the massage board. You're going to see a lot of Asian places. You understand? So it's a lot of fishy things going on. Massage is one of those touchy things, and that's what it is. But as a professional massage therapist, you have to understand. I run this show.
I got you, J-Bucks.
Yeah,
we got to stop though. So at the New York Times, okay. Deshaun Watson, this is screenshots from his phone. You have any availability today after 4 for a massage appointment? Not today, but I can do anytime tomorrow. Nothing you can squeeze in an hour? When's the latest you're available this evening? You give me times. What's a contact I can hit you on? And then his response, just trying to support black businesses. And then a heart emoji.
Is that
and
what?
This is from Ventus. Watson regularly presented himself as an ally to businesswomen. In the suit filed this week, the therapist alleged that he told her he really wanted to support black businesses. That's in addition to the screenshots above, so that's more than one. And on another occasion, he left a woman perplexed when he purchased 30 bottles of her $40 skin cleanser.
He baited her.
Yeah, he baited all of them. Like, then there's the like women where it's like, there's a woman that meet at my mom's home 30 minutes away from you, and he makes the trip anyway. And they asked him, did you even ask what her experience level was? No, sir, that wasn't a priority. This from the deposition. Right, you didn't care, did you? That wasn't a priority. I just wanted a massage. You didn't care what her skill level was, correct? That wasn't a priority. You didn't care whether she was properly trained. That wasn't my priority, sir. You're a pro athlete.
Yeah.
You know what's going into your body at all times. I wouldn't let anybody touch me, look at me, work on me that I didn't know, because that's my livelihood. My body is my livelihood. So to the question that J-Box asked about whether or not they're licensed, some of them may have been, some of them may have not have been. I don't know.
Yep.
But if you're Deshaun Watson, wouldn't you?
I'd probably take Deshaun. You know? Just as let me get my business. I'm posting pictures. I'm a blast. I'd massage. Like, he knew who he was going after was my point.
Most of the women, again from the Times, most of the women Watson saw for massages did not sue or call the police. Some who did not complain did say Watson came looking for sex. Just to throw that out there. And again, there's the woman who spoke to the New York Times under anonymity because she didn't want her family to know what had happened to her. Didn't sue, didn't try to get rich, didn't do anything. Just wanted to try and buttress the claims of these women because guess what? They're going to get dragged because they're massage therapists, and they're going to get dragged because they're trying to get rich or they're trying to be on Dr. Phil or all this other kind of stuff. That's when it changed for me, because it's easy to be cynical in these situations, but when you see that there's anonymous women that are doing this just to try and add more to the claims, that don't even want their name out there and aren't trying to get wealthy, don't even want their husbands to know what happened to them, that matters to me. We'll come back. I know we're late. It's Jay Martin and Mo, 104.5 The Zone. J. Martin and Mo, 104.5 The Zone. So I didn't realize what time it was in the last segment. I haven't done that one in a while.
Yeah,
so Buck Rods is coming up next. They got a poll question. We'll have more on this tomorrow. We'll find out whether or not there's any inkling about the NFL trying to appeal the ruling and all of those things. And Titans in pads. Let's keep it clean, boys. Let's keep it clean. I know a lot of you were at Nissan Stadium on Saturday night. Don't bring a tractor to practice. We don't need to see stories of Dylan Radins falling off a front loader.
Hey, man.
We'll have those stories. We'll have those stories for you tomorrow. Though Buck Rosin's coming up next. We don't even have music playing. We got to get out of here. We'll see you tomorrow.
But remember, Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.
Twitter fingers. Can you believe it?